Chapter 6304. Chapter 6304 Night Party Name. The emperors of all dynasties are all competing for fame. It is said that Emperor Wuzong, when he recaptured the 36 northern states, left his name in history and has always been the pride of their lineage. Li Miao not only wanted to leave a name in the history, but also to make a name in the world of self-cultivation, so that hundreds of millions of people would admire him. Okay, just do as the immortal master said. Li Miao just hesitated for a moment before making a decision. Looking at the mist disappearing from the immortal master, he comforted himself in his heart. When I'm done, the entire cultivation world belongs to the Tang dynasty. At that time, they should thank me for opening up a prosperous world for their descendants. But he never thought that those people had left descendants. Palace, immortal slaying tower. Wei Jiuxin walked to the door alone, but was stopped. Hu Fa Wei, Lord Nanshan asked you to go directly to the South City Wall. There is no need to come back to the immortal slaying tower. The two immortal slaying guards who guarded the door had already changed into unfamiliar faces. Wei Jiuxin was hunched and did not refute. He turned around and was about to leave. Before leaving, he stopped and didn't turn his head, just said plainly, "Tell Nanshan, don't break my chessboard." After saying that, he left immediately. South City. Immortal Slaying Guard Branch. "Commander, are you just looking at that villain from Nanshan like this? He even asked me to go to Shanghai County to monitor Jianghua refugees. Once I leave, this is Taiyan City, but I'll be honest with what he said." Chang Feng's expression on his face. As the second head of Zhangxianlu, he only obeyed Wei Jiuxin's orders, but now he is replaced by Nanshan, he must not be convinced. Moreover, he was also assigned to Shanghai County, which was obviously to overshadow Wei Jiuxin. Wei Jiuxin poured a cup of plain tea and pushed it to Chang Feng, and said nonchalantly, "Then go to Shanghai County." But Chang Feng was halfway through. Seeing Wei Jiuxin's relaxed expression, he seemed to understand something. He pretended to lower his voice and said, "Grand Commander. My arrangement, don't ask, don't say it if you guess it, just do what it says inside." Wei Jiuxin handed a kit to Chang Feng. After Chang Feng took it, he nodded heavily. He had always been confident in the Grand Commander's plan, and he immediately led the order to retire after drinking tea. After returning to his residence, he opened the kit. There was only a short line of words at the top, but after reading it, it made him feel more puzzled. Qin Yuan. He crushed the note and closed his eyes. A lot of things happened in the court today, so that even the city felt precarious. Chopping Immortal Tower. The group of Qiang sect powerhouses who were captured by Wei Jiuxin were all released, but the immortal fate they brought with them was gone. Needless to say, it has been taken away by Wei Jiuxin. Tonight Beiqing will leave an opening for you. You follow this route out of the city, and someone will lead you after you leave the city. Nanshan sat on the rattan chair and waved his hand. "Get down." Inside the princess house. Tonight is full of guests and the light is great. Because Qin Yuan was about to take up the post of governor and went to the 9 southeastern counties. This is an imperial consignment, and it is a high promotion. Once he returns, he will be promoted at least 2 levels. The key is to go to Mongshan County. Naturally, many people will congratulate and send off. Tonight's Qin Yuan can be regarded as enjoying the brilliance of a crowd full of friends. Some are friends, some are colleagues and bosses. For example, some of the servants of the 6th Division are higher than his official position, which can be regarded as giving him enough face. The banquet continued until late at night, and Qin Yuan, who was slightly drunk, sent the guests to the door one by one. Of course, this kind of thing would definitely not bring the princess. After all, it is a noble stomach. Besides, the relationship between Qin Yuan and the princess is more like living together. No one pays attention to anyone else. It's enough to take care of yourself. After sending off the guests, Qin Yuan let out a long sigh. The smile on his face disappeared, and walked towards the study alone. He usually lives in the East Garden, while the princess is in the West Garden, and both have their own activity areas. In Shiyuan, there are many small courtyards with face and head, and some attic for entertainment, which is very prosperous. Dongyuan is much simpler, with only a small bamboo forest and some scattered courtyards. In the bamboo forest, there is also an attic. This is Qin Yuan's study, this place is his heart, and he also ordered his servants not to come here. He opened the door familiarly, but his brows furrowed. Because there is one person sitting on the main seat of the study. The man was in the darkness, unable to see his face. But Qin Yuan can recognize this person at a glance, either because he is too familiar, or because this person has a very deep impression on him. What are you doing here? Qin Yuan's tone was impatient. Seeing this man, he felt flustered. The figure in the dark smiled disdainfully and said sarcastically, "When you become a concubine, will you forget my old brother?" "Humph, don't call me brothers, we two have already settled, and if there's nothing to do, get out of here." Tistigiske, really heartless. The shadowy figure shook his head, and immediately said straight to the point, "I came here on orders, and I need your help with something." Hearing that he was ordered to come, Qin Yuan's brows furrowed even tighter, turned around and closed the door, lowered his voice and said, "Is it because of Mongshan County?" "Kindness." The shadow in the dark nodded and then said, "The selection for Mongshan County has been selected. There will be a team of forbidden troops, and a team of Zhan Xianwei will go with you. All you have to do is." After the shadow in the dark explained, there was a grim smile. "Brother Qin Yuan, if you finish this matter, the road will be better in the future." As the voice fell, the shadow in the darkness also disappeared. Only Qin Yuan was left to guard the attic alone. After a while, Qin Yuan slowed down, but before he could sit down, another shadow entered the attic. Today's princess mansion is so lively. The person who came masked and sat where the shadow had just sat, startled Qin Yuan. "Who are you, dare to break into the princess mansion?" Qin Yuan was immediately furious. "The man in black is playing with his taste. What can I do to the little princess mansion? If I can come in, I can kill you, understand?" This sentence was a naked threat. Qin Yuan paused, and his breath calmed down instantly. "I knew it wouldn't be peaceful this time." Qin Yuan felt helpless and smiled bitterly. "Tell me, you are the great god of the road again. What instructions do you have?" "Readily." The man in black clapped his hands and said frankly, "First, save Yang Shao's life. Second, after going to Mongshan County, don't bother about Yang Shao's actions." "Wei Jiuxian asked you to come?" Qin Yuan directly guessed the origin of the other party, and then sneered, "Your news is really good. I just found out that Yang Shao will go with the team, and you will come after you." After guessing his identity and origin, Qin Yuan is no longer afraid. He is now the governor of the imperial court, so he doesn't believe that Wei Jiuxian has the courage to kill him. Chapter 6305. It's a pity that he guessed right in front and bet behind wrong. Wei Jiuxian really dared to kill him, and he wouldn't have any worries. Going to Mongshan for inspection was not good for Emperor Tang. If he died before the inspection, then the purpose was changed, and the death of the concubine began to be investigated. This matter, just like the original concubine Yin, has become an unsolved mystery, but because of the death of the concubine, the world's attention has changed from why the king rebelled to the death of the concubine. It's a very simple matter. How could Wei Jiuxian not know? If he really sent someone to kill Qin Yuan, then he would have won the whole set. I am afraid that Emperor Tang would directly restore him to his post and let him investigate the death of his concubine. In other words, killing the concubine is equivalent to turning around and changing his mind. If this is the case, why should Wei Jiuxian pierce the sky? So it is possible to kill but not to kill. This is conspiracy. I can't help but not answer this question. I just ask you, help or not. The man in black said calmly, not angry. However, Qin Yuan had no fear and sneered, "Is this matter a public matter or a private matter?" "Hee, I broke into the princess mansion in the middle of the night. Do you think I am private or public?" "That means it's a private matter?" Qin Yuan shrugged. The man in black nodded and said, "Yes." "Humph." Qin Yuan snorted coldly and said arrogantly, "Go back and tell Wei Jiuxian that I, Qin Yuan, can talk to him selflessly. If it's official business, you can go to the cabinet to find the senior manager of Yenge. If the cabinet has an arrangement, I will I won't refuse." At this moment, Qin Yuan is like the master of the sky. But the man in black looked at him like a fool. "You're really not afraid of death?" The man in black shook his head, suddenly took out a dagger, and stabbed it out instantly. But the dagger stopped just a millimeter away from Qin Yuan's neck, and Qin Yuan, who had realized it later, was also frightened into a cold sweat. He immediately shouted, "Senior, save me!" Well, the man in black was a little surprised. He was just trying to frighten the concubine. Why did the other party call someone? And dare to call someone in front of him? The other party must be very skilled, and have the strength to stop him at such a close distance. Really? The next moment, the dagger in the hand of the man in black instantly let go and shot straight out of the window, cutting off the roots and bamboos before stopping. A figure in green robes also slowly fell from the window. Standing in front of the windowsill, the figure said, "He has no killing intent, he just wants to scare you, but his heart should be punished, but he wants me to help you kill him. Get rid of me?" The figure in black sneered, "Don't you think your tone is a bit big? You can try." The figure in the green robe gave a sullen smile, not paying any attention to the other party. A small golden elixir is complete. Even if the master Feng Jue who can be invincible in the golden core stage comes, he can easily kill him. This green-robed figure was exactly Jian Wushuang, who was hiding in the princess mansion. Since absorbing the space crystal, he has reached the golden core consummation. In fact, the realm to break through is already there, and there is only a treasure to break through. As long as there is another space crystal of that kind, it will definitely break through. It's a pity that he didn't know where to get this thing, and after he broke through, his mind power increased greatly, and he felt several auras that could threaten him in Tian City. Waiting for the opportunity. Just last night, he felt a big battle, but unfortunately he couldn't fish in troubled waters, because there was a powerhouse in the infant transformation stage. If he knew that if he took a risk last night, he might be able to get the chance to break through the baby transformation, and I'm afraid he would take a risk. But with Jian Wushuang's vision, what happened yesterday must have caused a storm in Tian City, and with the guests at the grand banquet tonight, he got a general idea. At night, he covered the bamboo forest with his thoughts, and when he found out that someone was coming, he eavesdropped on the outside. As a result, I heard Qin Yuan's life-saving call, knowing that there was no way to hide it, so he simply showed up. And he can also guess that the other party is from Zhan Xianwei, who should have discovered that there are masters hidden in the princess mansion. Otherwise, the two Xianzhanwei have been missing before, and they will definitely be investigated, but now Zhan Xianwei can't protect itself and has no time. Take care of the little things. You killed Jiang Jiu and Jiang Qi? The man in black looked at Jian Wushuang and broke the confrontation. Jian Wushuang had no need to hide, and admitted it frankly. My lord's guess is indeed correct. The princess mansion really hides a master, but I don't know his details. Could it be that he is also a member of the demon sect? The man in black guessed secretly, but did not dare to do it easily. Because he was able to kill 2 golden snake guards under their noses, his strength should not be underestimated. The dagger he had just controlled had revealed a terrifying power. It was not like the Jindan stage, but it didn't have that of the infant transformation stage. The sense of rage, either the opponent has reached the point of superb control of strength, or the opponent is not Huaing. Obviously, he believes the former more. Your Excellency is so powerful, I think you are not a nameless person. Why are you hiding in this little princess mansion? The man in black made a tentative sound. Ukanshu. Calm Jian Wushuang said slightly threateningly, some things are known, and it will not be good for you. The man in black didn't dare to try again, so he directly said, since this is the case, then I won't ask, but there is one thing, I can't retreat, because this matter is related to the billions of Tang dynasty. Xingmin, it may seem to you that hundreds of millions of Xingmin have nothing to do with their own cultivation, but there are innocent people everywhere, please don't interfere in this matter. Intervene? Jian Wushuang didn't want to intervene at all, he just wanted to get more treasures and improve his strength. As for the people of Dawn, the world, he has long been indifferent. Because mortals only have 100 years of life, which is too short in his opinion. Even if hundreds of millions of people are gone, in 100 years, hundreds of millions of people will be born. This is why the human race is spread all over the starry sky. Unlike those powerful races or special beings, it is difficult to reproduce, or there is no way to reproduce, and can only be nurtured by the universe and even time and space. It has nothing to do with me. Jian Wushuang shook his head, his expression still indifferent. Seeing this, the man in black frowned slightly, just as he thought. People with extraordinary strength no longer put the ordinary in their eyes. Just as he was about to get out, Jian Wushuang changed the subject and said, "But the request you made to Qin Yuan earlier, I can help you, just without going through Qin Yuan's hands." Because he couldn't let Qin Yuan take the risk to help Zhang Xianwei, but prepared to help Yang Shao himself. Yang Shao? He had been to Jiang country, and perhaps he knew about Jiang Shang's mother. By the way, it was easy for him to help the other party and ask about Jianggua's affairs. This is exchange. It's just that there is no need to tell the man in black and Qin Yuan. Chapter 6306. Chapter 6306 Guess. Senior, is this true? Black is a little confused. Just now, he seemed like he had nothing to talk about, so why did he suddenly agree? Jian Wushuang said in an unfathomable tone, "It's true, and it will ensure that he returns to Beijing safely." Then, the man in black just wanted to ask why, but thought of what Jian Wushuang had said before. He swallowed it again. Although there is no way to tell the truth, Jian Wushuang can still find it at will without a logical excuse. Go back and tell Wei Jiuxian to help me kill a few people when I send someone to Shanhai County. South Tower. Wei Jiuxian sat beside the chessboard, holding a chess piece, but he didn't put it down for a long time. You said, he wants me to help kill a few honorables? Yes. Chang Feng respectfully said, according to number 1, these people are also related to this Qin Yuan. This time Qin Yuan went to Shanhai County because of these people. Hee, I didn't expect that because of these honors, I would lose so much. Wei Jiuxian stood up holding the chess piece, and said in a stern tone, it's time to clean up some trash. Playing with the pieces in his hand, Wei Jiuxian looked out of the city, replaying what had happened these days in his mind. Restaurant, magic sect, suspected baby change. These things happened a few days ago. Thinking about it, 2 words appeared in his mind. Ginger country. It is also related to Shanhai County, so it must have come from Jiang country. Chang Feng, do you still remember when His Majesty was enthroned, he sent someone to Jiang country? My subordinate remembers that it seemed that there was quite a lot of trouble at the time. It seemed that I was looking for a female cultivator. Later, I couldn't find it, so I put it on hold. Chang Feng answered truthfully. Wei Jiuxian nodded. Among the people who were sent to Jiang country at that time, it seemed that Yang Shao was the one who took the lead. That's right. Chang Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. In this way, everything seems to be clear. A female cultivator who was in the mind of Emperor Guangfu went to Jiang country, and then sent Zhang Xianwei to look for it. Later, this female cultivator disappeared. At first, Emperor Guangfu had been worried about it, but then suddenly let it go. Princess Yi. It was her appearance that made His Majesty let go of the female nun. The fight in the restaurant was caused by a mysterious powerhouse and the Qiang sect demon cultivator. If it is something that can see the light, Emperor Guangfu doesn't need to let Qiangzong do it, just let Zhang Xianwei go. But Emperor Guangfu did not do that, but let a team of monks from Qiang sect deal with the mysterious monk. There must be some kind of elusive secret in it. I am afraid that only Emperor Guangfu knows about this matter. Because the party involved Jian Wushuang is also not clear. Wei Jiuxian's eyes deepened when he thought of this. Over the years, he felt that there was a shadow looming over the Tang dynasty. But it didn't go away. Dies in the first floor, didn't we find out about the mysterious cultivator who went to inquire about it? Bring the file, I want to read it again. Wei Jiuxian decided to investigate thoroughly and start over. Maybe you can find clues and find out the conspiracy of Emperor Guangfu. Princess House. Inside the bamboo forest loft. Thank you for your help just now, Senior. Chen Yuan bowed slightly, but his eyes were red when he raised his head, and he said in a hoarse voice, Senior, I'm useless. I've been planning for so many days, but I can't take revenge myself, and in the end, Senior will take action. Chen Yuan believed in Jian Wushuang's excuse. From his point of view, Jian Wushuang is simply a world expert who keeps his word. In order to avenge a common man, he cooperated with Zhang Xianlu, and he cooperated at a great risk. This is what I want to do, you don't need to care too much. Jian Wushuang patted the other party's shoulder, and then said, I will be hiding in the Immortal Slayer Guard when I leave tomorrow, but I will arrange for 2 friends to protect you on the bright side. As for Yang Xiao's affairs, you must keep it a secret. Chen Yuan immediately knelt down on one knee and said in a serious tone, Senior, please rest assured, this matter will rot in my stomach. Even if I cut Chen's belly, it won't reveal the slightest bit. Live well. After Jian Wushuang finished speaking, the figure disappeared. The next morning, outside the princess mansion, a group of horses have already taken their places. With the princess farewell, Chen Yuan boarded the carriage and waved goodbye to the princess. On the face of things, both of them will give face, and they will not be cold. Chen Yuan closed the door curtain, but his expression turned cold. This time he went to Mongshan County with a mission. Except for Yang Xiao's affairs, the rest had to be done. That's dragging. When I went to Mongshan County, the truth was not important, what was important was how to get this thing right. His vision may not be able to see yesterday's battle, but someone pointed it out, and it is clear that the more clearly this matter is investigated, the more unfavorable it will be to His Majesty. And Yang Xiao was investigating this matter, but he would not take action against Yang Xiao. The reason for shirk has also been thought out. What can he do as a mortal? Yang Xiao is a complete powerhouse of Jin Dan. And this time in the accompanying team, although there are many masters, there is no way to take down Yang Xiao unknowingly. On the bright side, each of the 100 Imperial Guards are elite cavalry soldiers who have experienced hundreds of battles. Personal strength may not be a big deal, but you use reading www. is powerful. Leading 100 elites can besiege Jin Dan. In addition, there is a team of immortal slain guards. The 2 Golden Crow guards are both late Jin Dan cultivators. Yang Xiao was not included. Besides the Golden Crow guards, there are also 10 Golden Snake guards. With the strength on the bright side, it is easy to sweep some small sections. Secretly, there is also a 7 money slashing immortal guard. This was arranged to come in to kill Yang Xiao. Chen Yuan was unable to command because he was not on the travel list. In addition to the hidden masters of Zhang Xianlu, there is also a cultivator of Qi Yangzong, whose strength is not inferior to Yang Xiao. It can be said that he was fully prepared, and Yang Xiao was bound to die on the way to Mongshan County. In addition to these ins and outs, there was also a man and a woman who were accompanied by the name of the guests of the princess residence. It was Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang. Originally, I didn't want to take them on this long trip, but thinking that the current Tian city is not very peaceful, it is better to take them. As for Jian Wushuang himself, no one knows his whereabouts except himself. Originally, he planned to hide in the team, but Jian Wushuang found that it was not necessary at all. The mind power spreads out, and it can cover the surrounding 50 kilometers. As far as the speed of the team is concerned, it takes an hour for 50 miles, while Jian Wushuang only needs 1 stick of incense. So stop and go along the way and check your surroundings. He can see everyone within 50 miles, whether it is openly or secretly, but no one else can find his existence. Such a powerful mind power has surpassed the cultivator of the infant transformation stage. This is the confidence of Jian Wushuang. With the power of mind, always pay attention to the situation in the team. He didn't pay attention to those people on the bright side. But the 2 powerhouses in the dark are a bit tricky. Chapter 6307. Chapter 6307. The shopkeeper, the second, the cook. One is Qichin Zhangxianwei, and the other is a demonic flame, who should be the supreme elder in Qiang sect, and his strength has reached Huang. However, it is not a real or fake baby, but a dead baby monk. Cultivating this kind of nascent infant will naturally engulf the sky, because this kind of dead infant cultivator needs countless real nourishment from living infants. A live baby is, of course, a living baby. Although Jian Wushuang is well informed, he was surprised to see this demon cultivator in this mortal world. The particularity of the practice method and the wanton behavior in this world of self-cultivation are rare. In the mortal world of self-cultivation in the outside world, such a demon would probably be hunted down by the righteous path, the kind that would never die. The righteous and the devil do not stand apart and fight each other for the sake of the same word. For the sake of the righteous path, some will fall into the devil's path. But the world has no such balance. It may be because of the Tang Emperor, or because the sect of the cultivation world is too cold. It is said that the entire eastern land cultivation world, the sect has withered, and has lost its former prosperity, and even the complete inheritance has not continued for a long, long time. Most of the sect cultivators are only Jindan cultivators in the end. Individuals who can become cultivators in the infant transformation stage also have ancient adventures and their own talents. It is a pity that the spiritual energy of this world is dim, the heaven is blocked, and it is impossible to soar, so that there have been no strong people in the realm of gods for many years. From the perspective of Jian Wushuang, this mortal world will completely become a paradise in a few years, and there will be no cultivators from now on. As far as the current situation is concerned, there is still hope to be promoted to the gods in the last 100 years, and in the future, there is not much hope. The realm of the gods is a watershed, and the realm of the law is the realm of displaying supernatural powers. Even if Jian Wushuang's psychic power is strong, he will be caught by the gods and will be captured. Therefore, it is a good thing for him that there is no divine phase. Standing on the branch of the bush, Jian Wushuang let out a sigh of relief, and in a flash he continued on his way, walking all the way to the front of the team. The speed of the convoy was not as fast as that of the cultivators. After walking for a long time, they had just walked out of Taiyan City. When it was dusk, it finally reached the border of Mongshan County, and there was still a long way to go before Mongshan City. The captain of the Imperial Army took a look at the sky, slowed down, approached the carriage, and said loudly, "Master Chen, I think I will find an inn to rest for the night, and tomorrow morning we will go straight to Mongshan City." "Okay, look at the rest of your arrangements." Qin Yuan accepted the suggestion. He came here this time to follow orders to do things. Things can be done or not, but he must listen to his advice. Even if he did nothing and returned to the capital, there would be no punishment. He is also cautious, for fear of encountering an accident. If this Dong Biao belongs to His Majesty and wants to get rid of Yang Shao, then he has to listen to the other party, otherwise he will definitely be punished when he returns to the capital. But he wasn't worried about Yang Shao's safety at all. Because there is a sword in the dark. At this moment, Jian Wushuang stood on a treetop 30 miles away, hiding in the darkness after dusk. After letting go of the power of thought, Dong Biao's words were heard word by word. "This Dong Biao, there is a problem." He frowned. There was an inn 10 miles away from him, but this inn was very new, like it was prepared for them to rest. There were only 3 people inside. A shopkeeper, a junior, a cook. 3. There is no breath. This is what surprised Jian Wushuang. You must know that his current power of thought is several times stronger than that of Huaying consummation, and it can be compared to the realm of gods. Unable to detect the breath of the 3. It's impossible for all 3 to be in the realm of gods. Jian Wushuang shook his head and dismissed this ridiculous idea. There is no breath, and even the eyes are empty and there is no soul. Then there is only one possibility: puppet. I didn't expect that there is a puppet technique in this world. This can be regarded as the top magical power in the ordinary self-cultivation world. It is estimated that it comes from the ancient inheritance of the northern glaciers. He didn't think Jindan or Huaying in this world could make puppets. After all, it is the lowest level of cultivation world. The French and financial partners are not enough to support monks refining puppets. There is a big gap in the Tao of the cultivation world. For example, the Qinghua realm at the beginning was a top-level cultivation realm. In the later divine power universe, that is no longer the realm of self-cultivation, but includes the distinction between the upper and lower realms of the entire material. Simply put, the structure of the worldview has 5 layers. This is the 5 layers, and there may be many levels under the subdivision, but Jian Wushuang is not so serious. Divided from the world from which he came out. From the earliest continent, it can be regarded as the 2nd layer of the world, including the later Qinghua world. The first layer is a complete mortal world. It belongs to the paradise. There is no distinction between the weak and the strong. The way of heaven is fair. The second layer of the world seems to have opened a hole in the way of heaven, allowing some people with extraordinary talents to walk against the sky, step into the ranks of cultivation, and master the law of birth and death of heaven and earth. The third layer world is the universe of 10,000 worlds at the level of the divine power universe and the virtual power universe. It includes all material worlds and merges into the universe. This universe is a product of heaven. The peak is also the ancestor god. Going against the sky can't go anywhere. Only by going to Dayanhuan and entering the primordial universe nurtured by time and space can we go further. This is the power of the fourth layer of the world. In the universe that was originally conceived, the Tao can also be controlled, and the universe and even time and space can be controlled. In fact, including the world god continent, the same is true. It's just that the world god continent is considered the top of the fourth layer world. He is between the stars and space-time, can become the pinnacle of the universe god. As for the space-time god, Jian Wushuang is not very clear. Since he entered this world, he felt that the difference between the so-called universe gods and space-time gods is not a realm, but a kind of power. The original extinction, how could it still be the star god? He didn't think that the strength of this annihilation was so powerful. If he returned to the peak, it would not be a problem to hit 10 peak annihilations. The god of the universe, the god of space and time, and the god of the starry sky are all positions. Like the universe gods, there is no division of realm, and some are based on the level of power. Strong power is the 9-star cosmic god, weak power is the 1-star cosmic god. The mighty god of the universe might be able to kill the god of time and space and even the god of starry sky. Mainly depends on the power. The divine power of the universe is definitely different from the divine power of time and space. Perhaps only after the divine calamity is over, we will be able to find out when we go to the starry sky. After all, he was still far away, and it was just a thought that flashed in his mind. Then he pulled away and walked towards the weird inn. The distance of 10 miles, but after a few long jumps, they reached the front of the inn. Little heir, stay at the hotel. Chapter 6308. Jian Wushuang is wearing a cloak. Don't see his face clearly, but judging from his outfit, he looks like a martial arts master. A swordsman who travels far with a sword on his back. Dian Shower's eyes looked dull, but his hands and feet were quick and his tone was very marketable, and he hurriedly welcomed Jian Wushuang in with enthusiasm. Is it objective to live in the upper room or the middle room? Xiao Er hunched his waist and bowed his head and smiled. Jian Wushuang took out the money bag from his waist, slapped it on the table and said loudly, "Go to the room, give me 2 jars of good wine, a pound of cooked beef, and a plate of peanuts." "Okay, wait a moment, I'll make arrangements now," said to arrange it, but went to the back kitchen and shouted, then took out a key from the shopkeeper and handed it to Jian Wushuang respectfully. Taking the key, Jian Wushuang took out a small piece of silver from the purse and threw it to Xiao Er. He said proudly, "You will be rewarded." After saying that, he went straight upstairs. After the teacup kung fu, Xiao Er knocked on the door and came in, put the drinks on the table, and stepped back respectfully. Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged on the bed, didn't touch the drink, spread his thoughts, wrapped around 50 miles around, and kept staring at the convoy. You have to do everything. You can't feel like you know everything just because there is a weird in here. You still have to keep staring at the team in Yangshao. Make sure that the other party has no life worries. Then find an opportunity to ask the other party about Jianghua, especially about Jiangshang. Jiangshang. Jian Wushuang's thought instantly evoked the memories of that year. The things of that year are smashed. Because of his helpless actions, Huiking's mind was unstable several times. This is all cause and effect. If it wasn't for the White King to curse, ugh. Jian Wushuang sighed. Speaking of which, it is Jinling who is to blame for this matter. If he doesn't bring the demonic sound mountain to the heaven, he will not go to the heaven to accept the inheritance of physical trials. Without this inheritance, he would not have entered the heavenly realm in advance, so that he would not be caught by Junzwang. As a result, he was coerced by the gods and the White King, and he had no choice but to go to the blood sacrifice. Inadvertently killed Jiang Shang's brother in ordinary times. Made such a mess. I thought this matter had already passed, but I didn't expect to enter this big world and find Jiang Shang's clues again. Is it possible that she is a reincarnation? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows, but the thought was not right. The Lord of the Universe, who fell in the long river of time and space, will not come to the world god continent even if he dies. Not to enter this world. There must be a reason for that. He could only go and explore slowly. But no matter what this time, he will not make mistakes again. Don't make the same mistake twice. Whether you are the original Jiang Shang or not, I will deliver you to Huiqing safely, outside the inn. The originally peaceful street suddenly became lively. From the north, a group of aliens dressed in savage costumes were driving the beast car, and they bumped into Qin Yuan's motorcade from the south. The two sides quarreled outside in order to compete for the stables. As a captain of the Forbidden Army, Dong Biao had been on the battlefield and had fought against the savagery of alien races. Now, he can be said to be particularly jealous. Although the relationship with alien races has eased in recent years, and the two sides have traded with each other, but also will not give a good face. Damn aliens! Dong Biao scolded secretly in his heart, but this time they had important things in mind, and there were strong people among those aliens. With the intention of not causing trouble, he scolded with a cold face. You barbarians, I don't like living in the wild the most. Why do you still live in an inn? These words sound harsh, but they are the best words. Otherwise, just tell them to get out. The aliens did not give in at all. One of the enchanting women with bronze skin and various costumes immediately stared and said angrily, You people from the Central Plains are not known as a country of etiquette. According to the teachings of your saints, it is not a matter of course. Are you letting guests? As soon as these words came out, Dong Biao was really stunned. He didn't expect that the other party knew De Tong quite well. Now it seems that you didn't listen to a word of the saints' words, and you only use the words that are beneficial to you to fight for your own interests. It's really hypocritical. The enchanting woman glanced at Dong Biao with disdain. For a while, Dong Biao couldn't come down from the stage. How could he have suffered this kind of anger? If he was on the battlefield, he would have drawn his sword and killed him long ago, and he would be scolding his mother. Looking for death. Dong Biao was furious and drew his knife directly. Hundreds of imperial guards also suddenly said, tightening the reins, ready to rush to kill at any time. Chen Yuan, who had been watching from the carriage, stopped Dong Biao at this time. Wait a moment. Chen Yuan opened the curtains and walked out, looking at the enchanting woman from the Tsang clan. This matter can be big or small. You can't kill this alien caravan directly because of a conflict of words, which means you have nothing to do. He is the chief officer this time, and he has to carry it when something goes wrong, but he has to solve it when he encounters it. Otherwise, the face of the people below will be lost, and he will also lose face. Although I haven't been in the officialdom for a few years, I have learned a lot of various skills. Ukanshu. He first waved his hand to let Dong Biao take away the sword, then jumped out of the carriage and walked towards the Zhangzu caravan, and Zhang Xianwei immediately followed. The elite Golden Crow guards among the 10 immortal slaying guards, this kind of aura can directly overwhelm the caravan. Even the enchanting woman with the sharp language couldn't help but take a half step back. It was an old man behind her who lightly held her shoulders to restore calm. It's the Golden Crow guard who slashed the immortal guard. It's better not to do it. The enchanting woman of the alien race changed her expression, knowing that the voice just now was a sound transmission. She just nodded lightly in response. When Xiang Yang got the effect, he raised his hand and said, "Don't be rude." Only then did the Golden Crow guard accept the pressure, and the aliens seemed to have removed the stone from their chests and instantly regained their breath, gasping for breath. Everyone in these strong suits is a great immortal. What is the origin of this person? Some animal trainers in the caravan resisted the shock in their hearts, and also felt that the Tang dynasty was strong and 10 great immortals protected a mortal. The other party must be the top figure in Datong. Otherwise, there would not be so many great immortals to protect. In the wild, the Tsang people called the Jindan stage monks Daxian. Just like the Shangxian of the eastern land, it is just a title. Chen Yuan glanced at the people who were shocked, and his expression softened, and Yen Yu said, "This girl, the way of hospitality you said earlier is indeed the tradition of my Tang dynasty. It is a pleasure to have friends from afar. Of course, I have to let the best." After these words, many people in the alien caravan have a good impression of Chen Yuan. After all, one is a scholar who looks harmless to humans and animals, and next to him is a group of terrifying immortals. They naturally have a good impression. Not to mention that a big man with such a high status in their opinion actually spoke to them so politely. Chapter 6309. So, are you going to give us the stables? The enchanting woman's voice was poignant, and her eyes looked at Chen Yuan with a charming look, waiting for an answer. Chen Yuan smiled sullenly, but changed the subject and said solemnly, "Rang, of course I will, but before I have to let you know that the essence of my Tang etiquette, not that you can be unscrupulous by relying on your identities as guests." As soon as this sentence came out, the aura was fully opened, and the weak scholar was like the incarnation of a saint. The gift of etiquette is the master's permission, not the one proposed by the guests. I hope you remember it well. What this official gives you is yours. You can't ask for it and you can't rob it. After Chen Yuan finished speaking, he didn't care about the other's shocked expression. He waved his hand and said loudly, "Xiao Weidong, take the imperial army to the nearby woods to repair, give the stables to them, and the rest will go to the inn with me to rest." After giving the order, he just smiled, slightly bowed his hands at the alien caravan, then turned his head and led people into the inn. Dong Biao's eyes were fiery, and what he said just now was too relieved. He felt relieved than beating the other party, and he also admired Chen Yuan in his heart. Those immortal slaying guards are well informed and feel that this is nothing. They have not spoken or expressed anything, but have always followed Chen Yuan. Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang followed behind Chen Yuan, but they each had their own thoughts, but they didn't take this matter to heart. Jian Wushuang, who was upstairs, raised the corner of his mouth slightly. "It's just a trivial trick. Immediately shrink the power of thought, and stop until it shrinks to a range of 3 miles. The invisible force looked around the entire inn, monitoring everyone. Along with those aliens. The two parties entered the inn before and after, and because there were many people, they all sat down in the lobby on the first floor. With the lessons learned, these aliens dare not provoke, and they all drink and eat meat honestly. Chen Yuan didn't have any appetite because he had been in the car for a day. He just drank a bowl of water, and then greeted Xiao Er to go upstairs to rest. Zhan Xianwei is responsible for protection, and will not eat and drink downstairs, so they got up and lived next to Chen Yuan. With the mind power of the Jindan cultivator, they can also cover the entire inn and protect Chen Yuan's safety. It was completely dark. The restaurant was brightly lit. In the lobby on the first floor, in addition to a dozen people from the alien caravan, there was also Dong Biao and his party from the Imperial Army. The number of people in the Imperial Army was relatively large, so they chose to enter the inn in batches for dinner. As for rest, it can only be used as a quilt every day as a bed. Many children are born with innate spirits. Adults with poor talent can also become congenital warriors. In a tribe of several thousand people, dozens of Jindan monks can be born. This is not the most terrifying place. The 1,000-foot tribe also has a strong wizarding heritage that can manipulate centipedes. The reason why the 1,000-foot tribe is called the 1,000-foot tribe is because the totem is a centipede. The enchanting woman moved her body and looked at the second shopkeeper with strange eyes, and said, "You puppets even know about the centipede, so let it send you on your way." Hee, even if it's a centipede, it's a traditional body after all. The second shopkeeper tore off his shirt, revealing a body that was as black as ink. It was made of a peculiar spar. The shopkeeper and the cook have silver bodies, obviously different materials. The three have no breath, and naturally they cannot feel the real combat power. But as the two sides fought, the hall was instantly shattered. I was stunned that the fight was so intense, but there was no movement upstairs. Even if he is blind, he is not deaf. Everyone knows that the fight is going on, and the identities of both parties are unclear, but why they came, I am afraid it is Yang Xiao in the team. Chen Yuan stood in front of the door, looking down through the gap, his brows furrowed. Damn, I already knew that I was sleeping outside. Chen Yuan was a little annoyed. If it is in the wild, it is easier for Jian Wushuang to hide. Even if Zhang Xianwei makes a move, Jian Wushuang can easily escape. Hope it goes well. Chapter 63:10. Chapter 63:10. Ecstasy. Next door, 10 immortal slaying guards gathered together, and they were also observing the battle. Yang Xiao was in a room by himself, and he was also watching the battle. The great commander is really a god, and he even expected that we would live in a restaurant and encounter a mysterious powerhouse attack. He was shocked in admiration. Before he left Tian City, the chief commander had explained that when he encountered an alien in the inn, he could choose to believe it. But don't make a rash move. Because the commander still has a backhand, that is Jian Wushuang. Anyway, no need to be white, there is no need to let Yang Xiao take risks. It's just that Yang Xiao was a little itchy at this time. Since the 1v9 in Mongshan County, his strength has improved again. He has a complete inheritance in Zhang Xianwei, and he also has treasures. It will allow him to find a way to break through the baby. I don't know if Senior Wushuang is here. Are we just watching the situation now? Jiang Shang was a little worried. Because of the battle below, there was a lot of movement. Especially the centipede, its breath is stronger than Jindan perfection, and under the control of the enchanting woman, its combat power is almost comparable to Huang. But when I met those 3 puppets, I couldn't even do any damage. Defense is amazing. It can be said that Jindan is invincible. Xiang Yang put his hands around his chest and looked at the battle, but his expression was indifferent, and said, "Don't worry, these people should be here for Yang Xiao. Since Brother Wushuang arranged for the 2 of us to protect Qin Yuan, then don't worry about it. Just go." Kindness. Jiang Shang nodded slightly. The reason why she was a little anxious was because Jian Wushuang told her that Yang Xiao probably knew about her mother, so she was worried that Yang Xiao would be killed. But he also believed more in Jian Wushuang's ability. Now that the layout has been made, she must have made a foolproof strategy. She still has a deep understanding of this. In just half a year in Jianghua, Jian Wushuang and Xiang Yang, they brought out more than 100,000 rebels, which shows the strong layout ability. If Jian Wushuang knew that Jiang Shang had such confidence in him, he might be ashamed. At this moment, Jian Wushuang stood in front of the door, also watching the battle. He was so excited that his body was shaking. Space crystallization. The material of the shop assistant's body is space crystals. He didn't notice it when he was so close before, and it was also because of the characteristics of space crystals. Now that he sees it with the naked eye, he recognizes it. Such a large space crystal, if I get it, it is enough to be promoted to a baby. Jian Wushuang was shocked and excited. He even forgot to speculate on the masters of the 1,000-foot tribe. Because that doesn't matter to him. The inn was prepared for Yang Xiao, so these 3 puppets were also here to kill Yang Xiao. The powerhouse of the 1,000-foot tribe intervened, obviously to protect Yang Xiao. I am afraid that there is Wei Jiuxian's layout, and he is not very interested in it. Now he just wants to get space crystals. The 3 puppets have no thoughts and are being manipulated. If you want to burn the power to kill, you can only use the power left on the puppet by the puppet master to kill the opponent. But this kind of killing from such a distance is too difficult. Although Jian Wushuang's thought power is powerful, it cannot do it. Unless you find the mastermind behind the puppets who are hiding in the team. Can't find it. At first, he thought it was Dong Biao, but from Dong Biao, he couldn't see anything strange, even his mind power was a mess. It didn't look like a puppet being manipulated by Xinyu. If it wasn't Dong Biao, who was guessed earlier, who would it be? Could it be that the other party did not hide in the team, but just like him, has been secretly following the team? He frowned slightly, unless the other party was in the phase, or the other party's thought power was covered by something. The possibility of the phase was first ruled out. According to his guess, The other party could use the space crystal to refine the body of the puppet. I am afraid that there are still many space crystals to refine the magic weapon that shields his own breath. The high probability is like this. The strength is not a threat to Jian Wushuang, so he does not panic. Anyway, the puppet can't escape. Just when his eyelids were low, the most important thing now is to find out who is manipulating the puppet behind the scenes. Who is it? Jian Wushuang had murderous intent in his eyes. Mind power swept over everyone. If he couldn't find it, he didn't mind killing them all. Especially those Golden Crow guards, who were fighting against him anyway. To protect Yang Xiao, sooner or later there will be a conflict with the other party. Better to strike first. Jian Wushuang held the scabbard, his eyes lifted into the sky, and his consciousness condensed an illusory figure in the sky, looking at the restaurant below. Wait, just a second. But Jian Wushuang's patience also has a limit. He had to do something more at this time. Yang Xiao, you don't want to be caught without your hands. Yang Xiao in the guest room was stunned for a moment, knowing that it was sound transmission, and his thoughts immediately arose, and sound transmission said, "Your Excellency is not ready to take action? It seems that Wei Jiuxin has already told you, then I'm not talking nonsense. Now I suspect that there is still a strong man behind the scenes manipulating the puppets to fight. His strength should not be weak, and he can control 3 puppets. Ukanshu. Calm can still be so flexible. At least it is a fake infant monk. I need to keep an eye on this person. Now you go down to help, and someone will help you later. You just need to cooperate with the strong of the 1,000-foot tribe to take down that scoundrel first. Just a black puppet, then I can lock the position of the person behind the scenes." Jian Wushuang used a well-meaning little lie to force Yang Xiao to take action. Because there are still 2 strong men who are no less than him staring at him in the dark, the principle of starting first is the strongest, and there is no need for Jian Wushuang to remind him. It is good. Yang Xiao was also very happy. He kicked the door directly and shouted, "The enemy is attacking, everyone protects the governor and evacuates, I will block it here." With his voice, Chen Yuan could no longer pretend to be dead in the room. Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang also received Jian Wushuang's voice transmission and asked them to assist. "Master Chen, you wait here, don't go out, he'll help Yang Xiao." Xiang Yang cupped his hands and took Jiang Shangfei downstairs directly. The field was instantly lively. Yang Xiao was not surprised when he saw these 2 figures, but he had a headache because Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang were too weak. "Don't say help, you may be dragged back." Xiang Yang noticed the strange look in the other party's eyes, nodded and said, "You just do it, don't worry about us both." He and Jiang Shang's strength is indeed not the same, but the means are still there. Jiang Shang may be average, but Xiang Yang, a former master of the universe, still has some small means. Although his combat power is not very good, his opponent is just a puppet, which can achieve the effect of interference and containment. Otherwise, it is pure waste, and all these years of cultivation have been in vain. It is good. Yang Xiao, at this time, he was not being polite. He shouted at the 1,000-foot tribe powerhouse next to him, "Why are you still standing there? Do it." Chapter 63:11. TSK, didn't your Master Chen say it earlier? You can't force it. The enchanting woman teased, and then directed the celestial centipede to attack the second shopkeeper again. This time, everyone is targeting a puppet, regardless of the shopkeeper and the fat chef. The defense of the puppet is amazing, but the strength is acceptable, and it can resist for a while. Evil sword. Yang Xiao shouted angrily, and a long sword with a jug was unsheathed instantly. This sword name eliminates evil, which is the essence of Yang Xiao's swordsmanship. A sword came out, and the simple iron sword surrounded the store clerk covered by black crystal, and instantly shook it back. Although it can't hurt the opponent, it can knock back the puppet. The rest of the people also made ruthless moves, especially the celestial centipede, which took the opportunity to wrap around the second shopkeeper and spit out venom. The strong corrosion can't damage the puppet at all, it can only wrap around and trap the puppet. Although Jian Wushuang has been fighting, he has not been idle. While looking for suspicious objects, he monitored the 2 secret masters. Neither the dead infant cultivator of the demon sect nor the 7 coins slashing immortal guard did anything. If he started at this time and cooperated with the man who manipulated the puppet, he would probably hate this place today. Now several people behind the scenes are competing for patience. It seems that the people fighting below are their pawns. Even if they are injured and fall, they will not be moved. It's quite capable of hiding, so it'll force you once. Jian Wushuang chuckled lightly. With a nihilistic power, he instantly got used to the beams upstairs. The Qi Qian Zhan Xianwei, who was hiding above, felt the strong psychic fluctuations and immediately escaped. That thought force was not an attack on him, but a kind reminder. Remind each other that I know where you are hiding. Just to force the opponent to show up. The broken wood on the beams rolled down, and a figure fell below. Although he was wearing casual clothes and even wearing a hat, Yang Xiao, who was Lu Qian Zhangxianwei, recognized him at a glance. Bronze Mountain Protector, since he's here, he want help. Yang Xiao had known for a long time that there were strong people hidden in the dark, but he didn't expect it to be the guardian of the Copper Mountain of Zhan Xianwei. This Bronze Mountain Protector is of the same faction as the South Mountain Protector. I am afraid that hiding in the dark is to solve his scourge. Now I don't know why he suddenly appeared, which makes him a little confused, but at this time, he must directly reveal the identity of the other party, so as not to pose a threat to him. He didn't believe that Tong Shan dared to block so many people from facing him. Zhan Xianwei kills each other, but it is the kind of death penalty that no one can escape. As long as he takes action at this time, he can definitely turn the situation around and even kill Yang Xiao on the spot, making this Mongshan County inspection come to nothing. He didn't know that the dead baby powerhouse was also watched by Jian Wushuang. Really calm. Jian Wushuang's mind power wandered in the dark night like a ghost, always staring at the dead infant monk. Because he couldn't find the person who secretly controlled the puppet, he could only stare at the demon elder first. This person's strength is not bad. Even if he makes a sneak attack, he can't achieve a one-hit kill. Originally, he wanted to force the other party to help out the Copper Mountain, but now that the other party can't do it directly, he can't do anything about it. As for which demon sect supreme elder, there is no identity restraint. If they get the other party out, they will definitely break the jar and directly attack Yang Xiao. Therefore, the more calm the opponent is, the more beneficial it is to Jian Wushuang. It is enough to stare at the opponent with his mind power, and the more energy is to find the person who manipulates the puppet behind the scenes. Where is it? Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and stopped using his thoughts to sweep. Mind force can't find the breath of the other party at all, and there must be space crystals to cover. Now he can only rely on his inference to find it. When they first discovered the restaurant, Qin Yuan's team was still 30 miles away from the restaurant. At that time, the puppet's movements were stiff and his eyes were empty. But since the team approached, it began to become active. Especially after he entered the restaurant, the shop assistant was as correct as an ordinary person. It seems that I exposed too early. Jian Wushuang was a little annoyed. He was still too careless. He shouldn't have taken the initiative to show up before, but found a place to hide, or directly hide in the team. Chapter 63:12. As a result, the other party never showed up. The 10 Golden Crow guards all have strong auras on their bodies, and each is a cultivator of the Golden Core stage. This can't be wrong. He began to speculate one by one. There are not many people on the field. Simply put, there are only 4 types of people. One is his own people, Xiang Yang, Jiang Shang, and then Qin Yuan. Yang Xiao is currently in the same camp as the 1,000-foot tribe powerhouse. As for why the other party is doing it, he doesn't know, but it is currently to save Yang Xiao's life. There are more people in the other group. There are 3 big puppets and the person who controls the puppets behind them. Then there are the guardians of the Copper Mountain, the elders of the demon sect, and the Golden Crow guards in the house, all of whom came to kill Yang Xiao. Among the 3 parties, Jian Wushuang is considered a middleman, and even Qin Yuan is the same. And the 4th party is the Praetorian Guards. Hundreds of acquired ultimate martial pawns, plus 1 acquired ultimate martial artist. Is this team redundant? Every time the imperial court sends a governor, it does indeed send a forbidden army, which is not superfluous in normal terms. But this time, Jian Wushuang felt a little strange. Because Dong Biao has his own problems. But he is just an innate martial artist. Although he is in charge of leading the team, he cannot do more. Yang Xiao alone can overturn the entire forbidden army. What made him suspect the most was that Dong Biao obviously knew the inside story, but he dared to drink with the strong men of the 1,000-foot tribe at such a critical moment. Also drunk unconscious. Blindfolded. Jian Wushuang saw the problem, the color in his eyes twirled, and there was a hint of contempt at the corner of his mouth. He said in his heart, "This Dong Biao is a martial artist, he can't be so smart. I'm afraid someone behind this trick is pointing it out." In addition, the other party knew that there was a problem with the restaurant, and he deliberately brought in drunkenness, so as not to have to shoot because of the fight. Although he was not strong, but the forbidden army shot, it represented the court. This is different. Once Dong Biao makes a move, Jin Wei will also make a move. It seems that I have to go to meet this Captain Dong. Jian Wushuang stood up, crossed the windowsill, and the figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he had already arrived at the camp where the forbidden army was stationed. At this time, the camp was pitch black, no one was on duty, and he fell asleep on the ground. Some of them are because of the drug, but more because of a spell which will make them sleep more deeply. Rosemary. Jian Wushuang walked closer, only to find the clue. No wonder I couldn't find the problem with my mind power. I really didn't pay much attention to such a simple method. He touched his nose and shouted into Dong Biao's tent, "Xiaodong, you came out to see me by yourself, or let the person behind you come out to see me?" Dong Biao's own problem is very small, but it can be found from the details that everything has something to do with him. Although there is no problem with the breath of the other party, but every time a decision can be made so quickly, the person who manipulates the puppet is definitely by his side. Looking at the tent, he snapped his fingers, and the torches planted on the ground suddenly lit up. "You can't hide." Seeing that the opponent couldn't come out, Jian Wushuang made a one-handed tactic, and a wind-fighting technique was immediately lifted, opening the tent instantly. He was not polite either, and rushed over, wanting a quick solution. Kindness. When he approached, he realized that the 3 people in the tent had no heartbeats. The breath probed by the power of thought is a token on the chest of the 3 people. Ancient token. Jian Wushuang raised his brows. He knew this token, and even had it on him. It was obtained from the spirit monsters in the Jiang Kingdom's palace. I originally thought about research, but it turned out that the power above was very strange and could not be driven, so I gave up. Didn't expect to meet here this time. Holding 3 tokens, there is a white eye above it. The piece I got earlier was a black eye. Obviously, there is an identity gap between the two. Just when he was surprised, the fight in the restaurant suddenly changed. Not good. Jian Wushuang's heart sank, knowing that he had fallen for a trick. He wanted to rush back to the restaurant in a hurry, but when he took a step forward, he returned to the same place again. An enchantment rose all around. It's a formation. But the formation method contains a kind of supernatural power that is very common in the mundane. Shrink to the ground. It is indeed common for Jian Wushuang, but for this small world, it is not common. Because only the great monks who have reached the realm of the gods have this kind of magical power. Even if they are to arrange a formation that shrinks into an inch, they also need the realm of gods. Jian Wushuang's brows jumped instantly. This was because the layout was manipulated this time, and there was a big loophole when he calculated the opponent. How could a puppet created by space crystals be an ordinary cultivator? Infants can't do it, it's probably a god. There was only one thing he couldn't figure out. Why did the opponent need a layout when he was in the realm of the gods? No, when I was at the peak of my combat power, was it still the 9-star universe god? Now I'm not calculating this and that in such a broken place, just to restore my strength. Thinking of this, he wanted to understand. Since everyone is the same, let's see who is stronger. He didn't take this kind of formation into his eyes yet, he just thought that the person who arranged the formation was probably just a god, but after he figured it out, he was no longer worried. One after another thought power erupted from him, like a dragon in the dark night, biting towards the demon hidden in the dark night. Jian Wushuang stood still, his eyes shone brightly, and the battle of the psychic power flashed a flash of light, but in an instant, a hole was torn in the formation. You must resist. His figure rushed out instantly, running towards the restaurant, using the fastest speed. Tune the tiger away from the mountain. After that, it will definitely be a killer. If he was later, he might not be able to see Yang Shao himself. This is not the most important thing. If Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang died, there would be nowhere to make sense. These two are his dear friends and relatives, the kind who must not die. Xiang Yang has a relationship with Xing Luo behind his back, and Jiang Shang is Jiang Shang's daughter. It can't even die. Although I don't know how the other party got this daughter, and I don't know if that Jiang Shang is the Jiang Shang he knows, but taking the other party out will definitely give Huiqing a surprise. Directly broke through. So you can't die. In order to reach the inn as quickly as possible, he didn't even go through the gate, but slammed into it. The broken plank flew out instantly. The dust dissipated, and Jian Wushuang appeared in the inn. It's okay, they're all alive. When he just rushed in, he didn't dare to be distracted and use his mind to check their breath. Seeing his appearance, Chen Yuan upstairs let out a sigh of relief. Chapter 63:13. Just now, Yang Shao and others were about to take down the second shopkeeper, but a mysterious strong man appeared, seriously injuring everyone with one palm. If it weren't for that celestial centipede, I'm afraid that Yang Shao and others would have been beheaded by that mysterious powerhouse. Brother Wushuang, you've come. Xiang Yang's breath was floating, obviously he had just experienced life and death, and now he was still feeling a little scared. He quickly pulled Jiang Shang behind Jian Wushuang, and only then did he feel a little sense of security. Jiang Shang is not so afraid of death, his eyes are still cold, his arrogant little head is held high, and his tone is sharp. Senior Wushuang, it was the black-clothed powerhouse who shot just now. Just one palm will seriously injure everyone. I am afraid it is one of them. A great cultivator in the infancy. Glancing at the calm Jiang Shang, Jian Wushuang was very satisfied, because it was very similar to Jiang Shang who was in the Qi temple back then. He remembered his calmness when chasing the opponent, and he was brave and resourceful in the face of his pursuit. Senior Wushuang? Jiang Shang felt awkward being stared at all the time. His face blushed slightly and his eyebrows lowered, his voice softened. Cough, cough. Jian Wushuang quickly closed his eyes, coughed dryly to hide his embarrassment, and then turned to look at the mysterious old man in black. The other party was full of silver hair and dressed in black, looking full of energy. This is not the secret demon dead infant powerhouse, but a strong man he never noticed or discovered. Even now face to face, he didn't notice each other's breath. Your layout is much more difficult than a puppet. Jian Wushuang took a step, and his figure rose sharply, looking at the other side. The old man in black standing on the broken beam, but his eyes were full of surprise. He forbeared and calmly said, "How did you destroy the great formation I laid?" Simple. Jian Wushuang's thoughts moved, and the power of nothingness rose up, which was the power of consciousness manifested by powerful thought power. It can even be a conscious incarnation. Once the mind power is burned, it can be done by killing the baby. So strong. The old man in black was shocked. Immediately, he seemed to have thought of something and exclaimed, "Are you a powerhouse in the upper realm?" He could see Jian Wushuang's aura, only in the Jindan period, because Jian Wushuang did not hide his aura at this time, but the powerful thought force was clearly comparable to the realm of the gods. That's why he blurted out the upper-bound powerhouse. Upper realm. Jian Wushuang's heart moved. Although he knew that there was an upper realm, he didn't know anything about the upper realm, and he didn't even understand the current small world, such as the true immortal from the Tang dynasty, and the one who created the princess tomb. At this moment, someone happened to explain his confusion, so he pretended to be calm. Everyone is the same, what's so surprising? Oh, Do you think him also a powerhouse in the upper realm? The old man in black's originally tense expression eased slightly. They are all people of layout, and their minds are very fast. With just one sentence, it can be deduced that Jian Wushuang is not from the upper realm. Because he is not a powerhouse in the upper realm, the reason why he thinks Jian Wushuang is a powerhouse in the upper realm is because of the opponent's mind power, but just when Jian Wushuang said that he is also from the upper realm, it can be seen that Jian Wushuang's words are false. The old man in black did not come from the upper realm, but a local powerhouse in this world. The way to distinguish between the upper and lower bounds is power. The power system of the upper realm is completely different from the lower realm. Although the black-clothed old man has never been to the upper realm, he can see from the inheritance that there are many differences between the upper realm and the lower realm. I haven't asked you what your name is? Jian Wushuang. At the moment when the name was announced, Jian Wushuang frowned, knowing that he had just said the wrong thing, and now the old man in black and the old man in clothes has begun to change the subject. Apparently he won't believe any of his words anymore. Miscalculation: if the other party comes from the upper realm, he should know the space crystal, and he won't use this treasure to refine the puppet, but to restore his own strength. Obviously he doesn't know the space crystal, so he will refine it into a puppet. Jian Wushuang sighed secretly in his heart. As soon as they fought, they had already failed twice. The other party definitely has a 7 orifices exquisite heart. Although it is a mundane world, mundane wisdom cannot be underestimated. When they can't get through on the path of cultivation, some choose to walk the aisle, the heart, or the kidney. Obviously the other party was distracted. He has a strong state of mind, does not panic at all, and can use his few words to decipher his lies without triggering them, diverting the topic and attention. In this way, Jian Wushuang was completely passive. After reporting their names, Jian Wushuang spoke cautiously, but guessed the identity of the other party bit by bit through the other party's name. 9 Dust Immortal. This is the opponent's road number. To be able to refine puppets, you must have obtained the supernatural powers of the upper realm, and it is not surprising to know that the upper realm is strong. In terms of realm, he may have been a monk in the realm of the gods, but for some reason he fell into a baby, and now he should be in a cooperative relationship with Emperor Tang. After all, this kind of person who can be called a super strong in the mortal world will not succumb to imperial power. Cooperation. Following this point, Jian Wushuang opened his mouth. Fellow Taoist Jochin, since everyone has said it, it's better to be more straightforward. This time, give me a face and let Yang Shao die. If you have any needs, feel free to speak up. Jian Wushuang's posture is very low, and he can't see the opponent's strength very well, but at least it is a monk in the middle stage of infant transformation. If he really wants to do it, he has no problem at all, but there are still so many people here. If Yang Shao died, it would be very troublesome. Knowing that he had asked Yang Shao about Jianghua in advance, it ended up like this. Immortal Jochin stroked his beard lightly, and said with a smirk, "There is a saying in the mortal world that I have always admired, so you might as well tell your fellow Taoists." Please. Jian Wushuang stretched out his hand. Eat the king's salary, and serve the king's affairs to relieve the king's worries. After Immortal Jochin finished speaking, he still looked like a cloudless wind. But Jian Wushuang's complexion sank. The other party didn't give any face, and the words were very simple. Taking advantage of others to do things for others, Yang Shao's life could not be saved. If that's the case, then there's nothing to talk about with the other party. Xiang Yang took Jiang Shang upstairs, stayed with Qin Yuan, and saw the opportunity to take Qin Yuan directly. He quietly transmitted his voice, but his mind power had already risen to its peak. No one can escape from this seat today. Immortal Jochin raised a golden light in his hand. The flickering golden light shone on everyone who could not open their eyes. Even Jian Wushuang felt the stinging pain in his naked eyes, but fortunately he had the power to cover his surroundings, so he couldn't see anything clearly. But the rest of the people didn't feel so well. They all covered their eyes and curled up into a ball in pain. There were only 4 people present who were still standing. In addition to Jian Wushuang and Jochin, it was the Bronze Mountain Protector and Xiang Yang. Chapter 63:14. Chapter 63:14. Prison Tower. As for the dead baby powerhouse of the demon sect, he directly showed his body, and countless black chi burst out from his body, as if to burst his entire body. This person can be undisturbed. Immortal Jiuchen was surprised and looked at Xiang Yang. Because only this person is unexpected. Needless to say, Jian Wushuang, if he can't bear even this ray of light, it's not worth his effort. The law of protection of the Copper Mountain has the treasure body protection given by Zhang Xianlu. The treasures are a good match, so you won't be overwhelmed. But what about Xiang Yang, an ordinary Jindan cultivator? Bah! Jiuchen shot directly, trying to stop Xiang Yang, who was pulling Jiang Shang away. The golden light pierced the wooden attic and went straight to Xiang Yang. Jian Wushuang's thought power has been covering all around. How can he watch the opponent take action? And immediately the figure flashes, and he blocks in front of the golden light, holding it with one hand. It is a force of nothingness, and then the nothingness burns and turns into power, and directly hits the golden light scattered. The entire inn was shattered in an instant, and several Jindan cultivators, who had been seriously injured by the terrifying destructive force, fell into a coma. Come on! Jian Wushuang didn't have a sound transmission this time, and roared directly. He can see it now, the other party may want to kill everyone. No scruples around. Yang Xiao will die, Zhan Xianwei will also die, and Qin Yuan will not survive. Feeling the violent roar, the Copper Mountain that protected Qin Yuan was also stunned, and fled with Qin Yuan regardless of the rest. The order he received was to kill Yang Xiao and bring Qin Yuan back to Taiyan City as soon as possible. It is the rule of Zhan Xianwei to act according to orders, and it will not be mixed with personal emotions at all. Even if Immortal Jiuchen and Jian Wushuang appeared halfway, he did not ask curious questions, but wanted to leave. Because in his opinion, Yang Xiao must die today. The inn was instantly destroyed. Even the forbidden army stationed in the distance was instantly shattered. But the golden light and the burning power of nothingness are still entangled. Jian Wushuang clenched his teeth, and the thought power of his whole body rose again, and then gathered in the palm of his right hand, again condensing the consciousness of nothingness. Combustion, The power of nothingness after the burning was 10 times stronger again, and the golden light shot out of the explosion was directly pushed back. It's a bit of a skill, but it's far from enough. In the face of the strong golden light that can destroy people's hearts, Immortal Nine Dust has an extra 9-story tower in his hands. Receive! The golden light that had been bounced back by Jian Wushuang completely entered the 9th floor building. See clearly, this is the Supreme Treasure 9 Prison Tower. It is your honor to die under the Supreme Treasure. Immortal Jushin's white hair fluttered, the 9-story pagoda in his hands spun up to the sky, and he clasped Jian Wushuang straight, ready to suppress him. The terrifying attraction made Jian Wushuang unable to stand firm, and the surrounding sawdust was swallowed into the pagoda in an instant. Even the cultivators who were seriously injured and frequently died did not have time to escape, and all entered the 9 prisons pagoda. Treasure? Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and sneered, but bloodshot overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Obviously he is also difficult to resist, and has been injured. I underestimated him. He moved slightly in his heart, but he also saw from this that the determination of the Tang Emperor. He was going to kill them all. What puzzled him the most was why a monk with such magical powers was willing to do things for Emperor Tang. There are probably many reasons behind this that he does not know. But now is not the time to think about that. With his current strength alone, he is not the opponent of Immortal Nine Dust at all, and he can only burn his mind power again. Moreover, it is necessary to burn all the power of thought, so as to hope to kill the opponent. However, Immortal Jiuchen is not a fool. It is impossible to stand and let him kill, and he must find the right opportunity. Click. The floor shattered, and his figure slowly rose. Go on an adventure. Jian Wushuang made up his mind and began to approach the 9 prisons pagoda. If you want to kill the opponent with a single blow of thought power, you must get close. It happened that the other party also wanted to suppress him with the 9 prison tower, so he could use this opportunity to approach the other party and kill him with one hit. But there is also a drawback, that is, Once Jian Wushuang's psychic power is burned to exhaustion, with his current strength alone, without the support of psychic power, he may be instantly sucked into the Nine Prisons Tower. At that time, even if the opponent died, the instant power of the Nine Prison Tower was enough to shatter Jian Wushuang's body. He entered this world, just a mortal body. Even after becoming a cultivator of the Jindan stage, he did not have any modifications to his body, nor did he have the protection of strength. Even if he was a mortal, ordinary cold weapons were enough to disappoint him, not to mention the strangulation of the Nine Prisons Tower. But at the moment he has no better choice. Escape? Such an opportunity, escape, it may take many years to meet again. And running away is not his motto. Even if his body is shattered, as long as his soul is still there, that's enough. The soul cannot be changed, and his mind power is so powerful, even because of the soul. Even if there is an underworld in this world, there is no way to take his soul. Even if the soul cannot return to the body of the deity, you can shu www. Wandering in this world can find another body again. Fight. After calculating everything, Jian Wushuang sprayed blood and covered his chest, revealing a false image that could no longer be supported. Immortal Jushin's face also leaked a ferocious look of joy. Ha, the powerhouse of the upper realm, you are about to fall, everything you have is mine, and your soul, the fear and inheritance hidden in your depths, will belong to me. Nine prisons suppressing demons, hum. Jian Wushuang and the Nine Prisons Pagoda ran in both directions. But just as it was about to be suppressed, the surroundings seemed to be still. There were sawdust and broken wine jars floating in the air, and among these noisy garbage, there was a terrifying scorpion that shrank. Eye of the Candle Dragon. Jian Wushuang shouted angrily. A red light burst out from the center of his eyebrows, and his huge pupils instantly turned into stars. Although there is no treasure on his body, the eye of the torch dragon in the divine beast soldier is the earliest treasure he obtained, and he has long been familiar with it. Even if the treasure is not there, he can use the secret magic power. Relying on the burning power of thought, he awakened the power that manipulated the eye of the torch dragon, and the burst of light that instantly burst out was enough to strangle ordinary monks in the realm of the gods. Immortal Jiuchen couldn't react, and his eyes instantly lost their brilliance. The three puppets below also stopped quietly. The Nine Dust Immortal, who originally floated in the air, did not have any scars on his body, but fell straight from the air. At this time, everything around was also moving. The repressive power of the Nine Prisons Pagoda immediately swept in. It was just a moment of power, but Jian Wushuang was swallowed into it, and together with the body of Immortal Nine Dust and three puppets, all entered the Nine Prison Tower. The power dissipated, the Nine Prisons Tower smashed heavily on the ground, the golden light on it disappeared, and the night fell again. Chapter 63:15. Chapter 63:15 explain the surrounding area has been razed to the ground. Chen Yuan and others who had already escaped from the range returned cautiously after a while, but only saw a small 9-story tower on the ground, almost as tall as a person. What about Senior Wushuang? Jiang Shang looked puzzled. Xiang Yang turned around near the 9-story pagoda and said in a strange tone, "This is stronger than the aura of a magic weapon. It should be a treasure. With Brother Wushuang's current strength, I'm afraid there will be more luck than luck." "What are you talking about? Aren't you Senior Wushuang's friends? Don't hurry to rescue Senior Wushuang." Qin Yuan stood aside anxiously. "Save?" Xiang Yang sighed. "What do you want me to save?" His strength is not as good as Jian Wushuang. Although his psychic power is also very strong, he does not have the magical power to burn the secret method, which is at most comparable to some late Jindan cultivators. What is in front of you is a treasure. A treasure that can be used by Yenxian. No one in this world can fully motivate it. The magical powers used by Immortal Nine Dust should only be one of the layers in the 9-story pagoda. And the power is not mastered. If you master all the power of the first layer, it is enough to destroy this world. Yes, but what should we do now? Qin Yuan was worried and at a loss. At this time, the guardian of the Copper Mountain said, If such a big thing happens, I think Chen Xiaobao, let me go back to Tian City first. I think His Majesty will send someone to investigate the next thing, because it is beyond our scope now. Boundaries, if we continue, it will be difficult to find anything. After this battle, Tongshan was also a little scared. If he hadn't run fast just now, once he was swallowed into the 9 prison tower by that suction, he would have been strangled in an instant. Want to go? A voice sounded from behind, and everyone couldn't help but look back. Which is the enchanting figure of the 1,000-footed tribe saint. This time, the powerhouses of the 1,000-foot tribe, including the celestial centipede controlled by the Holy Maiden, all died, and she was the only one alive. Injured at the moment, Tongshan was very disdainful of this and sneered, "You are a little Jindan cultivator, do you want to stop me?" Although he also suffered a lot of injuries, he still managed to deal with an injured Jindan stage. But in his opinion, if he can't do it now, he won't do it. Who knows what else to deal with if they don't fold it here, it will be a big loss. I am indeed just a trivial Jindan cultivator, but I still have it. The 1,000-footed saintess shook the cloth bag in her hand, and there was a totem of celestial feet above. After she finished speaking, she walked slowly with the cloth bag in her hand and said in a threatening tone, "You can kill Jindan cultivator now, but I don't know if you can escape from Huang Tianzi's hands. It's impossible, absolutely impossible. Your natural foot has already exploded. The saintess of your 1,000-foot tribe can only cultivate 1 natural foot at most, and the rest are not as good as the natural foot. You must be scaring me." Tongshan's complexion changed greatly, and he kept retreating. "Even if you are not as good as your own destiny, as long as you have the strength of Jindan in the later stage, we can keep you." Yang Shao also walked out at this time. The rest are dead. Among the remaining people now, except for the guardian of the Copper Mountain, the goals are similar, and Qin Yuan is not important. So as long as they kill the protector of Tongshan, they can also take Qin Yuan to Mangshan County. Yang Shao, I'm the guardian of the immortal slayer, and now I'm taking Qin Yuan back to Tian City. Do you want to disobey? Tongshan no longer had the guts to use his strength to threaten, so he could only use his official position to suppress Yang Shao. However, Yang Shao dismissed this, and took out the token of Zhan Xianwei from his waist and threw it directly to Tongshan. "Are you going to rebel? You are not afraid of causing trouble for Wei Jiuxian." Tongshan was completely panicked this time. In addition to Qin Yuan, there are 2 powerful characters on the field now. If these people are besieged together, he will definitely be finished. He didn't want to die here. It was his lifelong dream to finally climb the ranks of fake babies and become a super strong man. For this dream, he could give up everything. Loyalty, reason, and faith can be discarded. Only cherish your own life. When I found out that something was wrong, I immediately began to give in. Yang Shao, no matter what, we are considered brothers from the same sect. Do we have to make trouble like this? Step back 10,000 steps. I can pretend that nothing happened. You kid, you were quick enough to admit it, but it's too late. Xiang Yang directly drew his sword and shot. The saintess of the 1,000-foot tribe also untied the cloth bag, and a blood-colored centipede flew out of it. This is not a celestial centipede, this is a mutant blood centipede that is more powerful than the celestial centipede, and it is already a combat power in the infantization stage. Even if Tongshan is at its peak, it is definitely not the other party, but he still has the ability to escape. Unfortunately, he is injured now, and with the siege of everyone he can't escape. In the face of Xiang Yang's strange swordsmanship, his legs were instantly disconnected if he didn't pay attention. What? Tongshan fell directly to the ground, no longer able to fight, gritted his teeth and endured the pain of his short leg. His eyes were full of resentment. Yang Shao, if you have a grudge against him, I'll leave it to you. Xiang Yang withdrew his sword and walked to the side, without killing him, because in his opinion, this is an opportunity to get closer to Yang Shao. Before Jian Wushuang tried his best, he would send him a voice transmission. Once the 9 prison tower had no owner, he would take the 9 prison tower with him. When he came out of the 9 prison tower, he would make another plan, and the black puppet among the 3 puppets must be Bring. There is also to win over Yang Shao. This person knew something about Jianghua, and he had to take it with him. He couldn't let the other party go, and he couldn't offend the other party. Never mind. Yang Shao closed his eyes slightly, shook his head and said, "He has become a waste, there is no need to add more killings." He still failed to kill him. He felt that the other party was also acting impartially, and he didn't do anything to him. Although he had that kind of heart, he didn't care about the argument. Xiang Yang shook his head secretly. "Childish, want to influence a Dao chaser, unless you become an elixir for the other party to eat." He is also an old guy who has lived for hundreds of epochs, and his understanding of human nature is far from comparable to these ordinary people. Those who pursue strength are also called chasing Taoists. They are often unscrupulous, but they know right from wrong, but in order to become stronger, they can give up all their cognitions. This is the ruthlessness of followers. They say they are demons, but they will never take another look at useless mortals, and they will not bully the weak for nothing. But the weak have the treasures they need in their hands, and they will kill the opponent to the treasures without compromise. Chasing Dao is very simple, just to become stronger. In order to win over Yang Shao, Xiang Yang was a little disdainful in his heart, but he did not refute the other party on the face. Leaving the crippled bronze mountain protector behind, Xiang Yang carried the 9 prisons pagoda on his back and left the place with everyone. Chapter 63:16. An hour later. There was a cloud of blood in the distant sky, and the cloud layer was filled with thick blood. Immortal Master, the 9 prison tower is gone. The blood cloud only paused for a moment, and then returned the same way. As for the bronze mountain protector on the ground, he didn't even look at it. Tian City, the palace of mental cultivation in the imperial palace. Emperor Guangfu Li Miao sat cross-legged on the futon, and there was an illusory light and shadow opposite him. If you look closely, you can see the silhouette of the other party and the features of his face. If Jian Wushuang was present, he would definitely be able to recognize the identity of the other party. It was immortal Jiuchen who had been killed by his mind power earlier. At this moment, it turned into a ray of soul shape, and maintained consciousness with the power of thought. The 9 prison tower is gone. The phantom trembled and said, "You said that the 9 prisons pagoda disappeared in place?" Tang Huang nodded and comforted, "No need to worry about Immortal Master, I have already sent someone to chase, and the 9 prison tower is so special, those people will definitely not be able to move." What do you know?" The illusory Jiuchen shouted while suppressing his anger. "You think they are just ordinary monks? If they are ordinary monks, the body of this seat will not die, and it is a trivial matter that the power accumulated over thousands of years will dissipate. Once you let the other party control the 9 prison tower, you will definitely discover the secrets in the glacier of the Northern Territory. Do you understand?" Tang Huang, who was scolded, was not angry at all, and his face did not even change. He just said quietly, "Then we can only start the final plan in advance. Everything has been arranged, and I will wait for the Immortal Master to arrange it in person. That's the only way." Jiuchen closed his eyes slightly, but he was unwilling. Those so-called plans were not as important as the 9 prisons tower in his heart. As long as the 9 prison pagoda is there, even if he reaches the upper realm, he will be able to conquer the world. Tian City, South Tower. At this time, Wei Jiuxian, wearing a coarse black robe, stood upstairs and looked at Tian City, which had fallen into darkness, with thousands of thoughts in his heart. A moment later, a cloud of mist descended, condensing into a black figure, kneeling on one knee and respectfully saying, "Commander, Yang Shao and others have completely disappeared, together with the mysterious monk who has been hiding in the dark." "Well, keep looking." Wei Jiu didn't turn his head back, and his tone was calm. This was reasonable, but it was beyond his expectations. The original normal path was that Qin Yuan was brought back. But there is a variable. The mysterious Immortal Master beside His Majesty instantly made this simple situation difficult. The mysterious cultivator of Jiang country and the ancient mysterious cultivator are all variables. There are not many people who can kill him and silence him. It's really interesting that he ended up being silenced, but it's just right, let you go completely crazy, so that I won't try to induce him step by step. Wei Jiuxian turned his head towards the stairs with his hands behind his back. He shouted, "Someone, help me send a letter to the King of Desire." Tower of 9 Prisons. Although it is only the size of a human shape at this moment, the inner world, the first floor alone, is far beyond this mortal world. This is the power of the treasure. If it was before, this kind of treasure would be garbage to Jian Wushuang. An ordinary treasure can make Yanxian crazy, and the slightly wealthier Dianxian won't care. But this treasure should not appear in this mundane world. For Jian Wushuang, Yanxian and Dianxian were just detachments from the lower-level universe. Not to mention in time and space, even in the original universe, Dian Immortal and Yanxian are not considered strong. But at that level of the universe, compared to the present, the gap is bigger than the starry sky. In a small mundane world, it is indeed a very rare thing to hide such a treasure that can only be nurtured by the primitive universe. It is like a cultivator of the phase, directly facing Dian Immortal. Inside the broad first floor, the surroundings are like daytime, with plenty of light sources, but nothing can be seen. This is the law of light. What appears to be a ray of light is actually the greatest darkness. There was no difference between the darkness in front of him and the light in front of him. Call. In the white world, the first breath was exhaled, and an illusory figure floated in the sky, aimlessly as if lost. This is the 9 Prisons Tower? The ideological body suddenly opened his eyes, and his mind power controlled his soul, causing his figure to stagnate in midair. It is Jian Wushuang. At this moment, his soul aura is very different from that in the outside world. If the outside world sees him, I am afraid that he will be surprised and speechless. Because there was a black mist swirling around him, which was constantly swallowing and collapsing, and every shining point of light around him represented a star. My soul power has increased here? Jian Wushuang himself was also very surprised. He did not expect that after entering the 9 Prison Tower, the power of his soul had recovered a lot. Before he entered this world, he was just a clone, and his strength was almost the strength of 7 stars. At this moment, his soul power has reached the level of Daojun. If you want to break this treasure, it is not a problem at all. After leaving the treasure, if he can still maintain this kind of soul power, he can directly soar during the day and go to a larger world. Ukanshu. Comet can even condense a powerful body, comparable to the combat power of Daojun. However, there was one thing he was worried about. What if the power of the soul decreases after leaving the 9 Prisons Tower? At that time, his soul power will be reduced again, and it will become a mind power comparable to the state of the gods, but it cannot last for a long time, and it must be difficult to condense a matching body in the small world outside, otherwise it will not be possible. No one has achieved that level of soaring for so many years. While hesitating, Jian Wushuang decided to search here first, but he still remembered that when he was swallowed, he came in along with the 3 puppets. He didn't like the other 2 puppets, but the one made of space crystals could help him a lot. Maybe you can use that puppet to let some of the power of the soul escape from here. For most of the remaining soul power, you can explore this treasure, and you can even take this treasure and use it to restore your own soul power. He knew that the 9 Prison Pagoda had 9 floors, and Immortal 9 Dust could only drive the first floor, and he didn't understand the first floor, so he might be able to surprise him later. With his current soul power at the level of Daojun, he will soon be able to comprehend the first level. After paying attention, Jian Wushuang's thought power spread and began to look for the puppet. But after his thought power spread, there was an unbelievable look in his eyes. I have such a strong sense of mind power that I can't explore the entire first floor. This treasure is not simple, at least it is a peak treasure. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, and his soul was divided. His realm is very high. As long as the power is there, all the secret methods in his consciousness can be used. At this moment, he cast a clone that devoured one. The body is instantly divided into thousands, and each clone has the strength of the rank 9 Great Evolution Immortal. Chapter 63:17. Chapter 63:17 The strength of space. Thousands of avatars, each flew around. The speed of the clone is very fast, and every breath is tens of thousands of miles. And his mind power can cover about 100 million miles. The various clones flew for a full day, and their thoughts were connected together. The scope was comparable to a big world, but they still failed to explore the boundaries. Fortunately, I found the puppet. His heart was relieved, and the thousands of clones spread out to find the boundary, and the clone that got the puppet stayed in place and prepared to divide the power of the soul. At this moment, the puppet has turned into pieces. In the hands of immortal Jyochen, the 9-prism pagoda can easily destroy the puppets made by space crystals, even though it only used the little secret technique on the first floor. Fortunately, the space crystal has become a powder fluid and can be recondensed into a human form, and the power of space is still there. This is enough for Jian Wushuang to use. Not only that, he even prepared to re-refine the space crystals, and by means of immortal 9 dust, he made a fleshy body with the laws of space. The puppets refined by immortal Jyochen only used the hardness of space crystals and did not play the biggest role, but for a cultivator of the gods, it has been used to the extreme. But for Jian Wushuang, this is not enough. Because of the hardness of space crystals, in his opinion, it is not a strength. In fact, the space of a world is not the most stable, and it is not even comparable to the stability of time. When he became the master of the universe, he could break the void in the infinite world. Later, he went to the world of the gods. With the fighting power of the universe gods, he also broke through the space-time and even crushed the space-time. The powerful space of the world god continent is like thin paper in the eyes of the strong. However, the upper limit of the world continent to breed strong people is the 9-star universe god, and even the of space and time. But its space laws can only maintain the Lord of the universe under the universe god. A slightly stronger cosmic can break through space, but some cosmic gods cannot break the flow of time, only a more powerful cosmic can do it. Therefore, space is a very easy rule to break in one world. This is why most of the powerhouses in the lower realm have risen through the shattered void. For those mortals who cannot soar, shattered void is already very powerful, but for a super powerful person with a vision like Jian Wushuang, it is a pediatrician. Shattering the void is purely by strength. If you want to gain more powerful power, you must rely on the law and the blessing of the Tao of this world. Just like the original emperor refining a big world, becoming the controller, and relying on the power of one world to become the superpower of the emperor. On the up, master one side of the universe. Or create a universe and become the master of the universe. It seems to be above the law, but it actually relies on the power of the law. The same is true for the universe god. The laws of the universe belong to themselves, and they can even be suppressed by the supreme rules. But where does the power used come from? Time and space? Starry sky? This question 9 is a bit out of line. At present, Jian Wushuang has not fully understood it, but with his knowledge and speculation, it can be judged that these powers probably come from the existence who created the starry sky. The power of the 12 star spirits is only a part of the starry sky. The starry sky cannot carry so much power, so it is divided into practitioners. That's why there are so many powerhouses who are controlled by the supreme rules, but the essence is still inseparable from the laws of the stars. And the law of the starry sky is the creator of the starry sky. Or a world beast. Jian Wushuang guided the space crystal while thinking about the way forward. Restoring strength is just a small episode, and it will only waste hundreds of thousands of years at most, and the road ahead is still a calamity. That is the most important to him. After transcending the divine tribulation, whether it is the universe god or the space-time god, he is already invincible on the world god continent. Whether to go to the starry sky or stay, it was all in his mind. Leaving to trace the whereabouts of the prophet at the beginning, he refined the beast's divine weapon for him, and then disappeared, as if he had never crossed the world god continent in the future. The mystery of the other party reminded him of Teacher Xuani. And in the world he is currently in, he once dreamed of the prophet's back. That dream of the prophet's back was an unexpected thing. He had been groping, wanting to see the prophet again. But none of them succeeded, and he still needs to explore step by step. Prophet? Teacher Xuani? Jian Wushuang shook his head lightly. What exactly are you planning? At the beginning, he guided me from a small world, sent me treasures and secret methods, helped me step by step out of the small world, went to the original universe of Dayanhuan, met Qi Temple, went to the 9 great spaces, and finally entered the world god continent. What kind of plans are there? To this day, he still doesn't understand. In fact, he was about to give up at the beginning, but he met the sword immortal Ding Bai and attracted him to Dayanhuan, and he was guided step by step. Just like today, it is also a guide. I already have the combat power of the 9 stars cosmic god. Can I see Teacher Xiani? Can't help him? Jian Wushuang slowly closed his eyes. Although he didn't know how far the so-called future was, he knew that the time was very near. Sitting cross-legged, a trace of soul power and space crystallization merged into one. The first time failed. Because his soul is too powerful, those space crystals are only space crystals of this small world, and their ability to bear is too poor. At most, it can bear the power of the soul that is 1 level higher than that of the gods. As for the power of the soul, which is 1 level higher than that of the gods, he is not very clear. According to the practice system in the small world and the unified practice system in the outside world, it should still be in the Daoji realm. The unified practice system of the outside world is divided into acquired, innate, Daoji, Yuanshan, Mahayana, immortal, and emperor. Acquired includes all acquired creatures. Innate is a special life, but special life can also be transformed. For example, Jian Wushuang is an acquired special life. However, in the Supreme Law, he is not a special life. After all, his vision at that time was relatively short. There is a big gap between acquired and innate, but the realm is the same. The first step in the cultivation path is the Dao Foundation, and this step includes a lot. It is said that all the cultivation realms in this small world today belong to Daoji. They are all practicing for the foundation. Above the Daoji is Vientian, which includes more. Among them, there are tens of thousands of laws alone, and the gap between the same realm is also very large. In Jian Wushuang's mind flashed a flash of memories of the weak period, and the power of the soul split again. After continuous splitting, it finally retained a trace of soul power and entered the space crystal. The space crystal that has turned into powder has changed from black to transparent, like a stream surrounding Jian Wushuang. Chapter 63:18. Chapter 63:18. Jian Wushuang's surprise. Although there is no divine power, the power of law has reached the basic level, which is not bad. Once it absorbs the power of space crystals, it will almost have the ultimate combat power of this world. Jian Wushuang was very satisfied. This is the advantage of having a treasure, of course, provided that the treasure is special enough. If it is replaced with an ordinary treasure, no matter how much the gods of this world try to explore, they will not be able to get it. But the 9 prison tower can be manipulated by a little cultivator who fell from the realm of the gods, and can also use its own power, which is simply outrageous. If that alone was not enough, Jian Wushuang was surprised. It has been a day since he entered the 9 prisons pagoda, and the myriad Dao avatars have spread all around. The thought power of each clone covers a range of 100 million miles, and 10,000 clones cover a range of 1 trillion miles, but the boundary of the first layer has not yet been found. This place is like a boundless and boundless world. Jian Wushuang had to separate out some of the weaker clones to find the boundary, while the main clone stayed in place. The physical avatar is almost refined, and the shape is exactly the same as his appearance. The bronze-colored skin and the facial features like knife carvings all carry a fierce aura. Let's try to control the 9 prison tower now and release the body. I don't know what happened to Xiang Yang and the others. I don't know if there is a gap between the flow rate of time in the 9 prison tower and the outside world, and Jian Wushuang is very worried. He worries about Jiang Shang's safety. With that thought, he began to comprehend the power of the laws of the first layer world. According to his calculations, a monk in the realm of the gods can control it, and with his current soul power, it is enough to take care of it. But after he comprehended several laws, his soul still couldn't control the 9 prisons tower. What happened? Jian Wushuang frowned. He has now comprehended several laws, and it is reasonable to say that he has long become the master of the laws, and the laws here are not simple, which are comparable to the original laws of the Green Fire realm. This can't control the 9 prison tower. The key is that he should not have too much, mastering the first level is enough. Interesting, I underestimate the 9 prison tower, its difficulty is beyond my imagination, and its scope is comparable to the higher world. I haven't found the boundary yet, but the further back I go, the weaker the power of space, and the limit is probably the same. It is the same size as the human world in the original 4 secret realms, but the laws are much stronger than the ordinary primitive universe, and it has touched the level of time and space. The more Jian Wushuang thought about it, the more he couldn't figure it out. I'm afraid he can only find out if he asks the other side in person. But at this moment he thought that Jiuchen had fallen, so he was extremely puzzled. Forget it, since you won't be able to grasp the first floor for a while, just open a hole at the edge and send the body out first. When you search for everything, you must be able to find some clues. Without further investigation, his main avatar, with his physical body, began to go to the weak space. Even if he could not master the 9 prisons tower, he could use his burning thought power to break the weak space on the first floor and send the physical body out. As long as the physical body goes out, leaving the rest of the main avatars here to continue to comprehend, there will be no delay at both ends. Well, choose this place. Jian Wushuang stopped. From the outside, it is actually no different from other places, but the space power here is very weak. He only needs to burn a little soul power to penetrate. Soul burning. What? Jian Wushuang formed a claw with one hand, and even if the fierce claw technique was not burning with divine power, it instantly shook the surrounding space. Tear the sky and smashed the space directly, but failed to break the outside space, but still left a claw mark. There is a little starlight in the claw marks of the ravines. That is outside light. Walk. Jian Wushuang's body instantly turned into a crystal-clear water flow, and along the little stars, he left the 9 prison tower in an instant. Outside world. Xiang Yang, who was carrying the 9 prisons pagoda, felt a chill on his back, and suddenly dropped the 9 prisons pagoda and quickly retreated. This made the others look over in confusion. But when they turned to look at the 9 prisons pagoda, their mouths widened. Except for Xiang Yang, he was the most worried at first, but when he saw the stream of water rushing out, he suddenly burst into joy. However, the rest of the people have lived in this mortal world since childhood. Although their own strength is also very strong, they are called Shangxian, but their vision is much smaller. This kind of magical skill is not even recorded in the ancient inheritance. The water flowed out, and instantly condensed into the appearance of Jian Wushuang, which was no different from what they saw. It's just that they looked at him in horror, a little unbelievable. Or Xiang Yang broke the silence and quickly stepped forward and asked, "Brother Wushuang, have you regained your strength?" With such a change in body shape, at least it has to reach the immortal stage. This stage includes Yanxian and Dianxian as well as Daojun. He also thought that Jian Wushuang had recovered to the level of immortality so that he could take him to fly. In fact, he was right in guessing Jian Wushuang really reached the level of immortality, but unfortunately it was only the power of the soul that reached immortality. Ukanshu. Calm but without a suitable body, it is impossible to carry an immortal soul. The growth of the physical body is inseparable from the law and wealth, and this is back to the original point. Everyone, don't you know me? The corners of Jian Wushuang's mouth rose, a smile leaked out, and his breath spread instantly, but instead of targeting everyone he swept away all life around him, checking to see if anyone was staring at him. This time, his mind power coverage can reach the limit of 500 miles, a 10-fold increase. It is a pity that when the physical body left the 9 prisons pagoda, the cracks absorbed a lot of space crystals, resulting in him not reaching the expected peak of infant transformation, or even the realm of gods, but maintained in the middle stage of infant transformation. This is a pity, I originally planned to come out and take this world directly. But it's not a big problem. The power of the soul in his flesh body has surpassed the realm of the gods, and the burning power is enough to rival the monks of the gods. This world does not pose much threat to him. Moreover, his current main avatar is in the 9 prisons tower. Even if the power of the soul is burned, it can be replenished in an instant. In this way, the power of the soul can be burned at will. The secret method of burning is really easy to use. When I recover my strength, I must study the secret method of burning. Jian Wushuang pondered in his heart. On the surface, he told everyone about his experience because the others had too little knowledge, so he didn't say much, just said that he was trapped in the 9 prison tower and got an ancient inheritance, and finally broke through in cultivation. He became a middle-stage cultivator of Huaying and successfully broke through the 9 prisons pagoda. It's not to fool them, but to say too much, and these people don't understand. Regarding Xiang Yang, he didn't hide too much, but the sound transmission made a general statement, saying that he is now invincible in the world, and he can just go about it. Chapter 63:19. Chapter 63:19 asking even if he goes straight to Tian City now, he doesn't have any scruples. But when he said he wanted to go back to Tian City, everyone objected in unison. Even Xiang Yang said there was no need to go back now. At this time, Chen Yuan stood up and explained, Senior Wushuang just came out and didn't know it yet. We caught a dying Qiang cultivator the day before yesterday, and learned from the other party that there is an altar hidden in the underground of Mangshan County, which contains big secret. Oh really? Jian Wushuang looked suspicious. It's not that he doesn't trust Chen Yuan, but that he doesn't trust some people. For example, the saint of the 1,000-foot tribe. After the other party learned that he had reached the middle stage of infant transformation, his eyes kept dodging. Obviously, she didn't tell Chen Yuan about something, and it should be Yang Xiao who was conspiring with her. However, Jian Wushuang could see that Yang Xiao didn't know as much as that saintess. He looked at the saint of the 1,000-foot tribe, and said in an irresistible tone, I don't care what relationship you have with Wei Jiuxian, or what kind of cooperation you have, I just want to know what your goals are. This, Yang Xiao took the lead in interceding and said, Senior, you and the commander should have some kind of cooperative relationship. Since everyone is their own, they must have some secrets, so why bother asking? Jian Wushuang turned to look at Yang Xiao, playing with his taste. Yang Xiao, don't you know about the 1,000-foot tribe? He didn't know it himself, he just wanted to deceive the other party. After all, Jiangguo's matter had not been figured out, and he didn't want to tear his face at this time. Yang Xiao was obviously stunned when he heard this sentence, but then he said firmly, The 1,000-foot saintess saved my life and cooperated with the great commander, I don't want to know about it. Save your life? Xiang Yang said sarcastically at this time, Yang Xiao, don't forget, it was Brother Wushuang who saved your life, he saved everyone. When this sentence is said, it will naturally stand firm. The same is true for Chen Yuan. He is a middleman. He went to Mangshan County because of one of these things. It's just that the rest of the people care about it. But everyone is very curious about the goal of the holy maiden of the 1,000-foot tribe. Except Yang Xiao foolishly thought that the other party saved his life, and could not wait to dedicate himself. If I don't say it, will it be possible for the seniors to do it? The 1,000-footed holy maiden said angrily. Jian Wushuang shook his head and said indifferently, What you did to that demon cultivator before, I will do to you. Soul search. This spell is too simple. Once the soul is searched, all the secrets are known. Jian Wushuang's previous strength was not enough, and there were still strong people watching them secretly, so he didn't want to search Yang Xiao. But it's different now, he has the strength, and there is no one around, he can boldly search for his soul. He will find out about Jiangguo's affairs, and he will also get the purpose of the 1,000-foot saintess going to Mangshan County. It's just that he is considering whether to be so cruel in front of Jiang Shang. If the other party speaks out honestly, he is also willing to believe it. Stuck here for a while. Jiang Shang's eyes were clear, and he wanted to speak several times, but he didn't say it. Seeing this scene, Jian Wushuang softened his heart and said in a flat tone, It'll give you a chance to tell what's in that altar underground in Mongshan County. I don't care about the rest, it's good for everyone. Only it is not good for the 1,000-footed holy maiden. Of all the people here, only the 1,000-foot saintess knew what was in the altar. Yang Shao did not insist on protecting the other party this time, but instead persuaded, "Saint, this matter concerns the hundreds of millions of people in the Tang dynasty. Please let me know so that Senior Wushuang and the others can prepare in advance. Even if I say it, you won't understand." The 1,000-footed holy maiden smiled bitterly, and there was even a hint of sarcasm in her eyes. "It's like watching a group of monkeys. What's the meaning?" Jian Wushuang didn't react for a while, because no one dared to do so much in front of him for so many years. Could it be that this 1,000-footed saintess is the illegitimate daughter of the star spirit? If so, he really knows more than Jian Wushuang. But the probability of this matter is the same as Jian Wushuang is a waste material. How can a waste material cultivate to have the combat power of the 9 stars cosmos god? Obviously there is no such possibility. Just say it. It doesn't matter to you whether you understand or not. You don't have to worry about whether I believe it or not. My mind power is very strong. You should have seen this before. Mind power represents mind power, so you can't lie in front of me. Jian Wushuang was not in a hurry. After giving the opponent a reassurance, he also shrunk the 9 prison tower and played with it. Although the inside cannot be controlled, the outside is still easy to control, but it cannot be included in the body. Fortunately, his current physical body can be considered a special life of the space class. Even a drop of blood has a space in it, but it is not big, but it is still very simple to put down a small 9-story tower. The 1,000-footed holy maiden gave everyone a deep look. This made Xiang Yang, who was a little impatient, a little annoyed. He was about to attack, but was pressed by Jian Wushuang. Yang Shao and Jiang Shang thought that what the other said was related to the secrets of the ancient monks. Although they were a little anxious, they waited patiently for the other to speak. Only Qin Yuan didn't seem to care at all. He is not a monk, and he is not interested in the secrets of monks, but he also has a secret in his heart. This secret is enough to shock hundreds of millions of people in the entire Tang dynasty. Therefore, in his opinion, the 1,000-foot saintess is not enough to have a secret in his heart. Important. This matter must start from ancient times. The 1,000-footed saint sighed. There was no recollection in his eyes, only a feeling of emotion. From her mouth, everyone knew the name of this world. Red Eye Realm. This world is called the Red Eye World. Everyone was a little surprised when they heard this name. Jian Wushuang is calculating, does this red eye have anything to do with Qi Yangzong? Xiang Yang's heart was not much surprised, but more sarcasm. How could he care about the name of such a small world? The 1,000-footed saint, with irony and arrogance in her eyes, continued, "You may not know much about the realm, I can explain it to you like this. The red-eyed realm is only the weakest kind of world, the strong after the broken void. Do you know where you went?" "Upper bound." Yang Shao answered honestly. This is what Immortal 9 thus said before, and it is not ignorant to say it here at this time. But it still made the 1,000-footed saintess laugh for a while. Even a 3-year-old child knows that there is an upper realm, but what is the upper realm called? What ethnic groups are there? What cultivators are there? And how powerful do you know? You don't know. No need to refute, directly deny it to everyone. No wonder the other party is so proud. It seems that he really knows some secrets. In the upper realm, there are 72 ancient areas, each of which is countless times larger than the Red Eye realm. Even a cultivator of the phase can cross an ancient area by flying alone. Even if you are old and dead, you must know that in the lower realm the lifespan of the god phase realm is thousands of years. In the upper realm, the lifetime is longer, and the god phase realm crosses the Scarlet Eye realm. It only takes a month. Can you understand how big the ancient realm is now? The 1,000-footed saintess smiled proudly, her bronze eyebrows raised very high. Chapter 63:20. Chapter 63:20. Dead water and living water. My God! Chen Yuan was shocked this time. As a scholar, he thought this world was big enough, and in his cognition, there was no upper bound, he thought it was a lie. Even if there is, it will not be much stronger than the Red Eye realm. Yang Shao is also the same, his eyes are wide and there is a strong yearning in his eyes. The cultivation path he took was very strange and extreme, otherwise he would not have escaped from the hands of the late 9 Great Golden Elixir and killed several people. Jiang Shang was young and didn't know much, so he was also extremely surprised, feeling that he was just watching the sky. I didn't expect the upper bound to be so exciting. She has been following her mother's footsteps and her whereabouts, but she has been searching for so long, and there is only a little clue. My own cultivation path is completely guided by my mother, and no one has ever thought about the wonders of the cultivation world. Now that I heard the grandeur of the upper realm, my mind became active, thinking about the scene where both mother and daughter ascended after finding their mother. Jian Wushuang looked stunned, stood on the spot without speaking, and did not have too many expressions. Only Xiang Yang was sitting on the ground alone, clutching his stomach. "Brother Wushuang, have you been shocked by such a big world?" Xiang Yang held back his laughter, looked at Jian Wushuang and asked with a serious face, "In such a big world, I am afraid there must be strong souls, it's so terrifying." Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and interrupted, "Okay, don't make trouble. No, this has nothing to do with Mongshan County, the grand narrative, who wouldn't say, I also said the continent of the gods." Xiang Yang shouted in a loud voice. Indeed, the grand narrative, anyone can say. In their cognition, the world god continent was nothing. And the starry sky, which is bigger. Big enough to make mortals despair. But what about where? Fang Tiandi has been away from them for a long time. Jian Wushuang was just like that, so he felt disappointed. They too had that wonderful world. Xiang Yang paused for a moment. The sarcasm in his eyes slowly turned into reminiscence. What are these two mumbling about? The 1,000-footed holy maiden gave Xiang Yang a strange look. The others were a little confused, because what Xiang Yang had just said made them even more incomprehensible. At least there are explanations and contrasts in the description of the 1,000-footed saintess, which can make them intuitively feel the power of the upper realm. Yang Shao was a little excited at this time, and urged softly, "Saint, go on, brother Xiang Yang is a hermit." After being surprised, "It is inevitable to say some nonsense, it's normal." This sentence deeply hurt Xiang Yang's heart. Just as he was about to refute, he was interrupted by Jian Wushuang. "No need, you are the master of the universe." After talking about the structure of the upper realm, the 1,000-footed saintess talked about the legend. This is all foreshadowing. Legend has it that there were 108 ancient domains in the upper realm, of which 36 ancient domains were broken and turned into billions of small worlds. Red Eye World is one of them. Hearing this, all except Jian Wushuang and Xiang Yang leaked out surprised expressions. No one interrupted this time, and the 1,000-foot saint continued. After the ancient domain was broken, it became a billion worlds, and the Red Eye realm came from this. But after the ancient domain is broken, the power will slowly dry up, and one more monk, this Fong world's power is 1 point less. I see. Yang Shao and Jiang Shang leaked the same expressions. This matter is not such a big secret, many people should know it. Jian Wushuang and Xiang Yang have long known that the power of this world is drying up, and it will not take long for it to become a purely mortal world. But the lifespan of the mundane world is very long, maybe after 100,000 years or 1,000,000 years, when the power of life is also exhausted, the mundane will disappear. Along with the grass and beasts, it will perish, collapse and merge into the void. The world is destroyed by this. But this is too far for the mortal. This matter has already spread in the ancient times. At that time, the monks practiced frantically and even spawned a lot of demons. They killed each other and reduced their opponents in order to soar. In that era, a red eye appeared and changed everything. Hearing these two words, Jian Wushuang thought of the ancient token, but didn't ask face to face. This time he really listened. And the more I listened, the more amazed it was. A legend told by a little monk in the mundane world surprised a super strong man with the power of the 9-star cosmic god. Xiang Yang thought he was crazy. Substance-based, this is this world. What is it that includes this world? It is a bigger world, and there is a bigger world outside the bigger world, but in essence, it is the starry sky, and that is the power of the starry sky. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself, making Xiang Yang think he was crazy. He smiled unconcernedly. The 1,000-footed saint on the opposite side didn't lie, he could see it. Whether the legend is true or not, he needs to verify it himself. Brother Wushuang, what did you hear? Why are you so surprised? Xiang Yang couldn't help but ask through voice transmission. Jian Wushuang said directly, the 1,000-foot saintess just said that the mysterious technique of the eyes of God can improve the strength and realm without absorbing the power of the red eye realm. I think it is very interesting, and I might as well talk about my own understanding. One side of the world, Ukanshu. Calm is like a pool of water, the red-eye world is obviously a side of stagnant water, and the 72 ancient regions of the upper world are a river, even those who live by the river drink whatever they want. It's not over because the water just passes by their door. His metaphor is very fitting. This time Xiang Yang finally understood. At the same time, he exclaimed, this inheritance secret technique is simply against the sky, against the sky. I can't say the same. As far as I know, although the red-eye world is a pool of stagnant water, what if there are strong people willing to pour water? Jian Wushuang assumed. Xiang Yang nodded earnestly, then shook his head. Impossible. If water could be injected, the strength of the dead monks would return to the pool, but from Qianz's mouth, the monks who were killed at that time did not return their strength, just to stop the other party from continuing to absorb the power of the Scarlet Eye realm. You're right, but those people are too weak. Jian Wushuang shook his head. If he didn't get the 9 prisons tower, he might believe it. And the monsters that I encountered when I entered this place were all cosmic gods, and they had the combat power of 6 or 7 stars. The upper limit of this world is far from being as simple as Xiang Yang imagined. Besides, he also dreamed of the prophet, a figure who could disappear from other memories. The master of the universe can create the universe, and it is very simple to activate a universe, but the probability is very small. In the world of red eyes, there is nothing special except for the mysterious magic of the eyes of the 1,000-footed remaining girl. If you come to the secret technique, it is indeed possible. But this kind of secret technique is used by ordinary practitioners. Even if it is taken by the Emperor and even the Lord of the Universe, what is the use? Could it be that you really want to create a sky-defying secret technique? If it is created, it can jump over a river and absorb the power of a sea. Isn't it superfluous? Chapter 63:21. The power absorbed is ultimately in the starry sky. Although it is useless, Jian Wushuang is very curious about the person who can create this secret technique. If he can, after he regains all his strength, he can directly reverse the time and space to see with his own eyes how that person created this secret technique. After thinking about this in his heart, he realized that what he wanted at the beginning was about the underground altar in Mongshan County. Could it be that this has something to do with the mysterious eye technique? After all, it has been paved for so long. If it doesn't matter, it's out of the question. Isn't it a waste of time? The 1,000-footed holy maiden spoke again, but this time, she didn't have much arrogance. The previous Jian Wushuang metaphors and assumptions were indeed something she had never heard of. Let's put it this way, the reason why the Red Eye Realm is called the Red Eye Realm is because of the mysterious eye technique, but the mysterious eye technique comes from the Divine Eye clan. I have learned about the mystery of the Divine Eye, and there is very little introduction to the Divine Eye clan. However, it is different for the Red Eye Realm, because the inheritance of the Divine Eye in the Scarlet Eye Realm is different from other worlds, or it is more powerful than the ancient realm of the Upper Realm. According to the records, the inheritance of the Divine Eye mystery is divided into 7 grades. The first class is the easiest. As long as you are born with a Black Eye token, you can use the token to go to the Northern Glacier and pass the first class assessment. You can get the inheritance. Speaking of this, Xiang Yang couldn't help but urged, you should go straight to Mongshan County, and it's going too far, so as not to waste everyone's time. No problem, speak at your own pace, don't worry. Jian Wushuang said, and Xiangyang shut up again. The rest of the people are not in a hurry, because just like listening to a story, they naturally need to know a little more, otherwise there will be no sense of attraction. Too bad the story has come to an end. The 1,000-foot holy maiden said regretfully, "The ancestors of our clan once got a 4th-class token, passed the assessment set by the God Eye clan, and successfully accepted the inheritance. With the inheritance, he quickly reached the peak of the phase. Just when the ancestor was about to break through to the upper realm in one fell swoop, he was attacked by a despicable villain. He took the ancestor with a secret method of seizing the house. Both lost their physical body and strength, and the lost strength could not be dissipated by itself because of the practice of the magic eye, but also because the power was too strong, others could not absorb it at all, and was finally sealed by the strong in the clan. I want to wait for the ancestors to recover before absorbing the power that I lost, but I didn't expect the ancestors to fail in the end. Although it has been 1,000 years since this incident, the 1,000-footed saintess is still a little sad, because their tribe almost gave birth to an ascendant. What a glory! When everyone heard this, they all reacted. You mean, in the underground altar of Mongshan County, there is the power of your ancestors being sealed? That's right, I went this time to recover the power that was sealed. I forgot to mention that it was the great Tang ancestor who sealed this power thousands of years ago. The 1,000-foot saint added. But this sentence brought a huge association to Jian Wushuang. Great Tang ancestors? Isn't that the monk from Baoguang Temple? The ancestors of the Qinzu tribe were sealed, but now they appear in Mongshan County because of the contemporary Tang emperor. There is a conspiracy in this matter. Jian Wushuang couldn't figure it out for a while. He turned his head to look at Xiangyang and Jiangshang, and then said, "If that's the case, then don't be stunned, let's go directly to Mongshan County. It's better to be careful. I have informed the elders of the clan that I will arrive outside Mongshan County in a few days, and it will not be too late to enter Mongshan County together." The 1,000-foot saintess was a little worried. Yang Shao was fiddling with a token on the side. He knew without asking he must be calling someone. Tell the great commander exactly what happened, and send reinforcements. A power at the peak of the phase is enough to drive all monks crazy. The reason why the 1,000-foot tribe cooperated with Wei Jiuxian was to regain this power and let the strong in the clan break through to the peak of the gods. Maybe you can use the last force in the world to shatter the void and get the way. Most people would think so. But Jian Wushuang pays attention to conspiracy and then moves. Conspiracy, he has already started to plan. When the 1,000-foot saintess told this secret, he was thinking, why was this power sealed? The ancestor of the Tang dynasty, although an infatuated lover, originally thought that the other party had no hope of ascending. But hearing that the other party can seal the power of the peak of the phase, I am afraid that he is also a super powerhouse on the verge of soaring. With such a character, why didn't he absorb that power himself and directly soar? Either he had no sense of ascension, or because there was a problem with that power, he didn't dare to absorb it, so he had to seal it up. But being discovered by today's Emperor Tang, he wanted to try to absorb that power to soar. For Jian Wushuang, no matter what secret is hidden in this power, he had better get it. So hurry over there. As for the rest of the people who went to it from him, why wait? Yang Shao now has to wait for Wei Jiuxian, the 1,000-footed holy maiden, and wait for the strong in the clan. Jian Wushuang doesn't have to wait. Since this power is now sealed in the altar, then everyone should use their abilities. Jian Wushuang's words surprised everyone. Thinking of Jian Wushuang's uncanny strength before, I can't help but worry that he chose to take action to get rid of everyone at this time. Don't worry, I'm not good at attacking you. Whether it's Zhan Xianwei or the 1,000-foot tribe, you can wait or go directly. Everyone depends on their abilities. I will never attack you first. Jian Wushuang still has this power, and that power is already within his grasp. With his current power to burn his mind power, he is not his opponent when the gods come, and he is invincible, but he dares to fight. Want to go with me or wait in place? It's up to you to choose. The 1,000-foot saintess and Yang Shao did not hesitate any longer and replied, "Go! It is good." Jian Wushuang's thought power instantly wrapped everyone, and his breath was shocked, and he burst into the air in an instant. Without reservation, he walked towards Mongshan County. The speed is so fast that it has reached the peak of infant transformation. This is still because with these people, otherwise it will be faster. They went to Mongshan County with great fanfare. But he didn't know that outside Mongshan County, heavy troops had already been deployed. Emperor Tang launched the final plan and gathered the entire Qiang sect and the powerhouses of the coefficient Zhangxianhui to Mongshan County. Wei Jiuxin couldn't hide such a big move, so he immediately recalled Chang Feng and led half of the immortal Zhanwei to Mongshan County. In addition to the Eastern Land Tang dynasty, there are also the ancient inheritors of the glaciers in the Northern Territory, as well as tribes from all over the wilderness, and the monks in the entire Red Eye realm. At this moment, it seems that they have received news, and they go to the Mongshan County Huehe together. Chapter 63:22. For a time, the season is moving. Outside Mongshan County, under the mountains 800 kilometers away from Mongshan County City, a group of savage men riding on fierce monsters stopped. Looking in the direction of Mongshan County, he trembled and said, "Gaozu, our 1,000-foot tribe will be able to take you home soon." "Pick Gaozu home," shouted a middle-aged man who knew each other behind the old man. The entire valley was suddenly rumbling, and the line of sight was raised to see that in the entire valley, there were barbarian warriors riding monsters. The 1,000-foot tribe is just taking the lead, and there are all the wild tribes, all coming out of their nests. For Gaozu, but also to defeat the Tang dynasty. Busy west of the county. It is close to the boundless desert, and the depths of the desert are connected to the northern glaciers. Where there are ancient ruins, it is the holy place of ancient qi refiners. Almost all the monks in the Red Eye realm dreamed of going to the Holy Land to accept the inheritance of the Divine Eye. But few can pass the inheritance. But if you pass the inheritance, you will be able to open up a sect in the Northern Glacier. In the past 1,000 years, the sects of the Northern Territory Glacier have withered, but there are still several super sects, and now the coefficient has come to the outside of Mongshan County. The leader, wearing a Taoist robe with a face like a crowned jade, looks like a 17 or 18-year-old boy, but he has lived for thousands of years, and his strength is even more unfathomable. He is also the leader of the entire Northern Territory Glacier, because he has passed the 4th-level inheritance in the inheritance of the Divine Eye. With this inheritance, he has cultivated to the top, but he is still a little short of Broken Void. If he can get the sealed power, he has absolute confidence to soar. Pindao waited for thousands of years, and finally waited until the seal was broken, and I don't know that the master was planning behind it. The young Dao Kuei stood with his hands behind his back, stepping into the void between the valleys, and his footsteps were shocked. The surrounding space is shaking. Behind him, countless magnificent warships are heading towards the wind and high in the sky. On the deck, there are rows of monks, all of them in the Golden Core period. There are thousands of people. Such a huge power is comparable to that of the entire Eastern Land Tang dynasty. You must know that since the Tao world was broken, the entire cultivation world was withering. Those monks in the Southern Heaven realm have lost their appearance as monks, and they are greedy for wealth and happiness in the world. The Northern Territory Glacier is too heartless, more like a traditional cultivation sect. Only Datong has a hint of fireworks. Therefore, the most monks were born. In fact, many monks of the Northern Region Glacier were mostly from the Eastern Land Tang dynasty. The only pity is that now they are doing their jobs. Although he came from the Tang dynasty, he had to do it for his own circumstances. What's more, Datong is not their Datong. It is the Tang dynasty of the royal family Li family. No one would be concerned about their identity as a Tang cultivator. At the same time, over the coast of the eastern region, a group of monks in luxurious clothes also stepped on the sea. They are the most ostentatious, and there are many people. In addition to Jindan, they also brought Xiantian, and the number is much larger than that of the wild tribes. Those who didn't know thought they were coming to fight Datong. In fact, these monks came from the Southern Heaven realm, the Heaven realm, and they were all monks enshrined in the Southern Seven Kingdoms. The sects are scattered, and there is not even a core structure. The 76 warships headed by them rose from the sea, and the suspension in midair was spectacular. But behind this is a silently dedicated Jindan period cultivator. Especially the gigantic warship headed by it, the length and width are more than 100 meters. To suspend it in midair, the power required definitely exceeds that of the infant transformation stage. However, the Southern Heaven realm is the weakest, and the great cultivator in the infant transformation stage will not waste his power for the sake of ostentation. So I can only suffer the few Jindan monks who control the warship below. The people of Tianyangmen are really shameful. The three of us brothers worked hard to make them look great outside. I'm not convinced. In the control room, a burly and strong man complained while transporting energy into the warship. There are two people next to him, all using the same method to control the huge warship. The slender old man in the lead said comfortably, "Okay, they gave too much, it's okay to be wronged, don't complain, when the warship is transported, let's go straight." "What if it's good?" Another young cultivator with the reversed appearance couldn't help but ask. This time Nantianji Fei came so hard, not to watch the show, but to receive a message that could change the pattern of the entire cultivation world. It's just that the three of them are in the late stage of Jindan, and they are not qualified to contact such secrets. They only know that there will be a huge opportunity, and they don't know what it is. The old man Jingli raised his brows when he heard his companion's questioning, and scolded, "Hurry up and work, for you and me, the reward of Tianyangmen is a great opportunity, 72 warships, Ukanshu. At the same time, the comm opened to the coast of Datong, with a clear goal, pointing directly to Mongshan County. In just a few days, the matter of Mongshan County was unannounced, and the cultivators of the entire red-eyed realm had gathered. No one knows who leaked the news. No one went to trace the source of the news, but all chose to believe it. That's what's weird about this. Tian City, the Imperial Palace. In the back garden, Emperor Guangfu Li Miao walked barefoot on the silt scattered by the petals, and the feeling of icy coldness made the Emperor of the Tang enjoy very much. "Master Wei, I'm very happy that you came to see me today, but what you just said made it difficult for me." Li Miao's tone was relaxed, walking on the soft soil, looking for flowers and asking willows, sometimes picking a strange flower and placing it on the tip of his nose to take a sniff. Wei Jiuxian stood by the promenade next to the garden with his head held high, ignoring the beating of his majesty just now. Even his face became more and more embarrassing. "Your Majesty, I don't care about the people from the glaciers in the northern region, but the wild tribes brought 100,000 troops into Mongshan County, and the guys from the southern world gathered tens of thousands of warships on the sea, and mortals came here. Now why is this? What is the meaning of this? Your Majesty must know better than Wei Chen." Wei Jiuxian was neither humble nor arrogant. He looked at the Tang dynasty more seriously than the emperor in front of him. For the sake of the Tang dynasty, he could disobey the emperor, and he could also lose his position as the commander of Zhangxianhui. Now that all the clans are attacking, how can he not be in a hurry, even if it is to offend the honor of the 95? "You have done your best for the Tang dynasty, I see it in my eyes." Emperor Guangfu turned his head slowly, his tone softened, and looked at the old man, thinking that Wei Jiuxian had been standing by his side when he first ascended the throne, and later it was Wei Jiuxian who guarded him and finally returned to the throne, not only with the help of Qiang's sect, but also with the help of the great commander. Chapter 63-23. He was smart since he was a child, and his skills as a king surpassed that of the previous emperor. How can you not see who is the loyal minister and who is the traitor? But what I have to do is also very important. What happened 3 years ago will not happen again. The world will not die because of me, but it will exist because of me, can you understand? After Emperor Guangfu said this, the dragon robes flew behind him, and the whole person's breath rose. The natural dragon phase, once you become a phase, you can use the dragon phase world and become a superpower in the phase. Wei Jiuxian thought it was ridiculous, and he even laughed outright. Is this still the little guy who was kicked off the dragon chair 3 years ago? In 3 years, too many people have changed. The little emperor who was kicked off the dragon chair back then dares to say, I exist because of me. Maybe the one from 1,000 years ago could. Thousands of years later, even the one from Baoguang Temple will no longer be able to do so. Are you laughing at me? Emperor Guangfu's face was a little grim, but also a little crazy. He shouted angrily, Wei Jiuxian, there is only so much love between me and you, don't force me, now you just need to be honest standing on the south gate and watching me complete the big plan. You can play whatever you want in the world afterwards. Wei Jiuxian shook his head and said word by word, It's too late, it's time for a change of emperor in this Tang dynasty. You dare! Emperor Guangfu's expression changed. Although he had long expected that Wei Jiuxian would join forces with King Yu to force him to abdicate, he did not expect that the other party would dare to tear his face after seeing his strength. The power leaked just now is to let the other party know that he is not the little emperor who could be kicked in the nest 3 years ago. Sir, why don't you dare? Wei Jiuxian slapped off his tube cap, and a Jiuling long whip slipped out of his sleeve. A king whip! Emperor Guangfu said in shock. This is the whip of the king handed down from the old ancestors. Passed down to this generation, it happened to be in the hands of the king of desire. The two were originally rivals, but the nobles cared more about the country. It doesn't matter who the emperor is, the important thing is that the country is there, and the person on the throne only needs to be surnamedly. As for the current emperor, it is natural for someone to take the lead in overthrowing him. Wei Jiuxian just started here. Outside the palace, 100 princes from Wang Zizong's mansion are expected to go to the palace. Using the Empress Dowager to issue a decree, the content is very simple. It is the truth of Mongshan County. Contemporary emperors are stupid, heavy on demons, heavy on slaughter, and for their own selfish desires, they have ruined the country left by the ancestors, and I persuade him to abdicate today. Advise. Not the opposite. After all, the Great Tang is still the Great Tang. Yuang's group did not care whether Emperor Guangfu was captured by Wei Jiuxian or not. They had already begun to draft the second imperial edict to elect the new emperor. As for the confidants of Emperor Guangfu, they all went to Mongshan County at this moment. Whether it was the Qiang sect or the Zhangxianhui commanded by the protector of Nanshan, they all gathered in Mongshan County at this moment. In the entire Taiyan city, Emperor Guangfu did not have a single confidant. In addition, Wei Jiuxian's hands were neat and tidy, and Yuang quickly took control of the overall situation. The other side. The battle between Wei Jiuxian and Emperor Guangfu Li Miao has also come to an end. The battle between the two was just a stick of incense. This made Li Miao, who had strong confidence, unable to believe that he would lose to Wei Jiuxian. He just broke through and became a great cultivator in the late stage of infant transformation. You actually kept concealing your strength? Li Miao was surprised. Wei Jiuxian was very calm and said sternly, I didn't care about cultivation originally, but after what happened 3 years ago, I didn't carry it either. Ha! Li Miao sneered, shook his head, threw his dragon robe on the ground, and said with a wry smile, I still underestimate you. The transformation of the baby is complete. It's really amazing. He said as he walked out the door. It doesn't belong to him here, and he never thought of being emperor for a lifetime. After embarking on the path of cultivation, all mundane things will gradually be forgotten. Therefore, he dared to take the risk of the world to plunder and kill the people to gather blood and cultivate for himself. This is also the reason why he parted ways with Wei Jiuxian. Your Majesty, Wei Jiuxian said softly, when she handed concubine Yin to you, you should keep your promise, call. Hearing these words, Li Miao stopped and his body was shaking constantly. Enough, I gave you the entire Tang dynasty, what else do you want? Li Miao shouted impatiently, venting the depression in his heart. In fact, his heart is more afraid than anyone else. That promise back then? An image instantly appeared in his mind. A frail woman was snuggling in her arms, and she was kneeling on the ground. At that time, he had not yet ascended the throne, just the prince. In the picture, he knelt down to the woman in white clothed with holy snow. The woman was like a radiance in the darkness, white and flawless. Is all light. You are sorry for the imperial concubine, and I am sorry for the goddess who rescued the imperial concubine. At this time, Wei Jiuxian's words shattered his light. Goddess. This title made Li Miao tremble all over, and after a while, she turned her head and sneered at Wei Jiuxian. She is just an ancient cultivator who was sealed in the glacier of the northern territory, not a saint at all. How could a saint fall in love with a monk? It's a joke. Really? Who do you think will take your throne today? Wei Jiuxian sneered. At this time, Li Miao was even more frightened, and he no longer had the pride and calmness of the past. This is the most fearful thing buried in his heart. Princess Grave. The most mysterious imperial mausoleum in the Tang dynasty is also an extremely terrifying force. Impossible, how could she have a connection with the Princess Grave? And she said that she will soar soon, how could she still be in the world of red eyes? Li Miao is already a little crazy. Wei Jiuxian continued to speak provocatively. You are right, she is indeed no longer in this world, but the tomb of the princess is still there, and the Baoguang temple is there. When your ancestors sealed that power, you already expected it. On this day, so someone will come to break the game. You mean the ones from Jianghua? Li Miao took a deep breath. He has many eyes to control the world, and the first floor of the world is one of them. When Jian Wushuang and the others first entered Tian City, they were targeted. Several monks from Jiang Kingdom thought of the destruction of the Jiang Kingdom's royal family, but there was no specific corpse. Li Miao was already suspicious and arranged for Qiang Sex the master went to assassinate Jian Wushuang and others. I originally wanted to find out the details, but the person suddenly disappeared in Tian City. Thinking about it now, there is a high probability that it was hidden by Wei Jiuxian. Wei Jiuxian, you really have selfish intentions. When I sent someone to Jiang country to look for the goddess, you stopped me in every possible way and secretly competed with me. Now it seems that the goddess must have left something. If you guessed correctly, it is the woman in plain clothes who has been to Baoguang Temple before. Li Miao's expression became calm at this moment, as if everything had returned to her control. High-speed text handwriting Bika Library Wandao Jianzuan Chapter List https:// Chapter 63-24. The conversation between the two seemed clueless, but it led to a shocking secret. Mongshan County, Split Sky Canyon. Jian Wushuang took everyone to the canyon outside Mongshan City for the first time. As soon as they arrived, they noticed countless breaths flashing around. Obviously, some strong people have come ahead of time. This surprised everyone, and they glanced at everyone one by one, with suspicion in their hearts. After all, the 1,000-foot saintess had just revealed the secrets hidden underground in Mongshan County. They rushed forward and found that others were earlier than them. This had to make them wonder if someone reported the letter in advance. Yang Xiao did report the letter, but he just passed it on to Wei Jiuxian. How could this lost have such great ability to gather so many strong men? There must be things in them that they don't know. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Jian Wushuang questioned Yang Xiao. First, they asked what was going on with Wei Jiuxian, and then led them to the matter of Jianghua that they had long wanted to know. Speaking of this matter, Yang Xiao's expression became embarrassed. Jiang Shang was eagerly looking forward to get the answer he was dreaming of. This matter shouldn't have been said, but since you are all from Jiang country, I knew that I couldn't hide it. Yang Xiao smiled bitterly. At this time, he understood why Jian Wushuang and others wanted to protect him, all because he had been to Jiang country and completed a top-secret mission. Very few people know about this. Only some people inside Zhan Xianwei knew about his trip to Jiang country, and as for the content of the mission, only 3 people knew about it. One was Yang Xiao's immediate boss Wei Jiuxian, and the other was Li Miao, Emperor Guangfu of the Tang dynasty. No one else knows about it yet, because this involves a shocking secret. Yang Xiao, I have 2 ways to know about this matter. You should be able to understand my consciousness. Jian Wushuang's tone was slightly threatening. He can search for souls, or let the other party speak. It's just that the former is a bit too ugly. As long as the other party takes the initiative to say it, then it's easy to do. Yang Shao is soft or not, but at this time he can handle it clearly. Mainly, this shocking secret has something to do with Jianghua. He also knew that Jian Wushuang and others were from Jiang country. In the end, he no longer insisted, because it would not hurt Wei Jiuxian to say it. As for which His Majesty was, he had long since denied it. Mangshan County was slaughtered completely, which is what His Majesty did today. Even if it was an act against the sky, it would not be an exaggeration to kill the opponent. There is still a heart to guard the secret of the opponent. I can tell you, but the rest have to avoid it. Yang Shao turned his head and glanced at the 1,000-foot Saintess and Chen Yuan. Jian Wushuang raised his hand and created a layer of barrier. This is the power of thought, which isolates the voice and their movements. Even if he can read his lips, he can't see what Yang Shao said. The main reason is that Jian Wushuang does not have much power now, otherwise it can be done by directly isolating time and space. But the little secret of the mortal world he felt was not necessary. After the arrangement was made, Jiang Shang was the most excited and couldn't help urging, "Why did you go to Jiang country in the first place? Was it because of a woman in white? You really know her." Yang Shao narrowed his eyes. The more he looked at the woman in front of him, the more he resembled the plain-clothed woman in the portrait that Tang Huang gave him. Jian Wushuang glanced back at Jiang Shang, then at Yang Shao, frowning. "Say it directly, no need to go around." What he can guess is limited, just listening to the other party's riddles, even if he is full of 7 orifices and exquisite hearts, he can't guess it. And it's very tiring. Speaking of this matter, I don't know much. I only know that this matter is related to Baoguang Temple and Princess Tomb. Yang Shao said with memories in his eyes, "Not long after the restoration of Emperor Tang, suddenly they found me and Duke Wei. They handed me a portrait and told me to go to Jiang country to find the person on the portrait, but on the day I left, Duke Wei found me privately and asked me to bypassing Jiangwo. You can go around the sea and come back, you don't need to go to Jiangwo to investigate." Yang Shao remembered the scene at that time very clearly. In addition to instructing him not to go to Jiangguowai, he also revealed the identity of the woman in the portrait. Goddess, the woman in the portrait is an ancient goddess. This title made Jiang Shang feel vague, while Xiang Yang was like listening to a story. Only Jian Wushuang froze in place. It really is her. There is no such coincidence in the world. Goddess, daughter of 9 heavens, Jiang Shang. At this moment, he thought of the Dharma image enshrined in Baoguang Temple, and his tone trembled. What does the Dharma image of Baoguang Temple have to do with the goddess? I'm not quite sure about this, but there is a record in the Zhan Xianwei archives. That Dharma image was obtained by the ancestors of the Tang dynasty thousands of years ago. It seems to be called a Zen machine. Yang Shao was a little surprised that Jian Wushuang asked such an obscure question. Aren't you talking about that goddess now? And he could see that Jiang Shang was probably the heir left by the goddess. There was only one thing he was curious about: who made the goddess give birth to an heir? Although I don't know the identity of the goddess very well, I can guess that the goddess had soaring strength at the beginning, and I am afraid that no one in the entire eating world is worthy of her leaving children. All this seems inexplicable. But Jian Wushuang had an answer in his heart. That Dharma was very likely the avatar of the clone left by Hui Qing when he played against the goddess in the ancient moon time and space, and finally fell into the world of gods for some unknown reason. He figured out the reason. The only thing he wondered was why he appeared in this world. And let him meet by chance. Turning to glance at Jiang Shang, he couldn't help but touch the other's head with his hand, and a smile leaked from the corner of his eyes. Jiang Shang didn't dodge, but asked curiously, "Senior, do you know my mother?" She wasn't stupid either. She could see that Jian Wushuang's expression changed drastically after hearing his mother's name. Of course, this is because Jian Wushuang did not hide. He nodded, did not deny it, and said indifferently, I knew it a long time ago." Xiang Yangchu kept arranging Jian Wushuang in his heart. "I know everything, let's see what you can do. You've only been here for a few days, I'm embarrassed to puncture you." In his opinion, Jian Wushuang must be pretending to be mysterious, and he has no good intentions. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, removed the enchantment, and said, "Everyone, the fate of ascension is right in front of you. Everything depends on your own means." Everyone nodded blankly, not knowing what he was thinking. Taiyan City. Emperor Guangfu walked out of the palace in embarrassment, took off his dragon robe, and wore a linen robe, but there was an evil thought on his eyebrows. Everyone in the world thinks this palace is a treasure, but they don't know it's a ball cage. Today, I got out of the cage, so I won't be the emperor in this cage. After Li Miao finished speaking, his figure flashed and disappeared. Chapter 63:25. When it reappeared, it was already at the imperial mausoleum. The largest of them is the tomb of the emperor, not the emperor, but the tomb of the princess. This princess tomb is considered to be the ancestral tomb that the emperors of all dynasties have to worship. Because when the prince of the small country of Fanbang entered the Tang dynasty, it was naturally impossible to worship outsiders, even if that person founded Baoguang Temple. Li Miao walked on the imperial mausoleum road and walked towards the towering ancient temple in the deepest part. At this time, a figure in black appeared in front of the ancient temple. It looked like a woman. She was young, but the air was very large. "Li Miao, what are you doing here? I am afraid that there are not many who have such a tone of voice for the emperor who has just abdicated." Li Miao was not angry, but said sternly, "Even if I am no longer the emperor of the Tang dynasty, but the tomb of the princess is still my Li family's ancestral tomb. I come from worship. Do I still need to report to you?" Seeing that the choked person couldn't speak, he ignored it and walked straight into the hall. The layout of the hall is very simple. There are Dharma pictures and an altar. He first lit 3 sticks of incense, and after several times of respectful worship, he turned around and went to the apse. It's dark and damp here, and sometimes water drops dripping, making a pleasant sound. "Waiter, can you come out and see me?" Li Miao shouted. But no one responded. The woman outside the hall chased in and said, "Li Miao, my master has already gone to Mongshan County, and she said, if you want to take away senior sister Yin, you need to pass me." "Jie Jie." Li Miao smiled strangely and turned her head slowly. At this moment he changed to a new face. It was a withered face. Black blood was flowing from the top. There were countless goo insects climbing. The sword-wielding woman who had sworn to herself suddenly turned pale with fright, and before she could react, she found that Li Miao's body suddenly disintegrated into countless blood-colored worms like blood mist, instantly eroding her body. In the world in just one day, various incidents have emerged one after another. In particular, the situation in Taiyan City is extremely complicated. But for Wei Jiuxian, it is very comfortable at the moment. He could finally sweep away the snow in front of the door. Go ahead and keep 30,000 forbidden troops to guard the imperial city, and arrange 6 colonels to be responsible for the safety of the city walls and the city, and the rest will gather outside the city. Notify the King of Desire that the new emperor's enthronement is imminent. Ming Changfeng is the vanguard. Go outside Mongshan County to meet number 10. Someone will tell him what to do. Wei Jiuxian stood in front of the threshold and issued orders one after another, and the black mist figures behind him kept disappearing, until he was left alone. At this time the sky also darkened, but in his eyes he saw light. To relieve your worries. For the Tang dynasty, for the hundreds of millions of people, this world should be swept away. At this moment, Wei Jiuxian descended like a god, shining brightly, shaking his hands away from the night, stepping on the light and heading towards Mongshan County. As for Taiyan City, if this battle is lost, then there is no need to exist. If it is won, it will be even more brilliant. At the same time, in the Baoguang Temple, the 3 Buddhas burst into a burst of light at the same time. Master Mingjue, who was originally meditating on the Dharma, suddenly opened his eyes. "Coming!" He got up hastily and walked straight to the apse. He respectfully saluted at 2 of the Dharma statues and said, "Disciple Mingjue, I have seen strangulation and strangulation of arhats. Senior nephew Mingjue, why are you the only one who greets me and the rest?" The two big arhats widened their eyes angrily, looking fierce. This is also related to the arhat status achieved by the two of them. Mingjue put his hands together and explained, all the monks in Baoguang Temple were borrowed by Wei Jiuxian. He is the key figure in this disaster. Jinxian has explained that, except for the Patriarch Fanxin, everyone can obey Wei Jiuxian. True immortal? He is just a person who failed in ascension. Dare to compete with the ancestors of Fanxin? The two arhats were very disdainful. You two seem to be very dissatisfied with my senior brother. But at this time, another Dharma figure spoke up. She had thick blue hair, and there was an unspeakable killing intent hidden in her eyes. The two big killing arhats lost their luster in front of her. Even Mingjue was secretly panicking. He was more afraid of the blue-haired woman in front of him than facing the two killing arhats. This is the real master of slaughter. Fu Qing Jianxian, a peerless sword immortal who made a great reputation in ancient times, and his subordinates killed as many as tens of thousands of gods. Because she is from the upper realm. It is a super strong person in an ancient domain in the upper realm. The reason why he came to this realm is because of the mysterious magic of divine eyes. But once you come to such a small world, your strength will also be suppressed, and you will be bound by the way of heaven. Obviously, this upper realm sword immortal failed to grasp the great opportunity of the ancient times, so he stayed in the red-eye realm all the time. In the era of depletion of power, she chose to sleep and was later recovered from the glacier in the northern region by the ancestor Fanxin and brought back to the Tang dynasty. Her appearance made the two killing arhats shut up. Master Fanxin is the master of the two of them, and the killing in front of him is a ruthless man even stronger than the master. Seeing that the two were no longer speaking, Fu Qing continued, "It wasn't my senior brother who woke me up, it should be Fan Exen, right? What about others?" The master left Baoguang Temple in a hurry after meeting two monks from Jiang Country a few days ago, and also explained that there would be a major event in Mongshan County soon, and asked me to assist Wei Jiuxian and two Luohans, and Jinxian and Fu Qinjiangxian. Fu Qing frowned slightly. Her current strength was reduced by a trace, and she would not choose to revive unless she had to. Now that the mortal heart is not there, but let a junior call her out, a little annoyed. Then he asked, "Where is senior brother Xinghai?" "Xinghai Jinxian went to Mongshan County." Mingjue answered honestly. During the conversation, the name Mongshan County appeared all the time. Obviously the answer to everything is there. Fu Qing didn't care about anyone else, and when he held it with one hand, the illusory Dharma image suddenly condensed into reality. He was wearing a white robe with the same white background as the Dharma image, and he carried a divine sword behind his back. His eyes were more murderous than the Dharma image. She didn't talk nonsense with these people, she left directly in the air, flew into the air to identify the direction, and went straight to Mongshan County. The remaining three looked at each other in dismay, and just as he wanted to say something to regain some face, they felt a movement from the glacier in the northern region. "So far I can feel it?" Killing Luohan said, "Those demon saints are doing." When the words reached his lips, he thought that the ancestor of Fanxin seemed to be in the glacier of the northern territory, and his face suddenly became serious. "Mingjue, you are in charge of guarding Baoguang Temple, and I will go to Mongshan County with suppression." After he finished speaking, he directly condensed his real body and left. Chapter 63-26. Chapter 63-26. Three parties gather. Mingjue stood in front of the palace gate and sighed slightly. His strength is not enough. Although he is very strong among the Jindan cultivators, he has even achieved an invincible level, but this time, he is not qualified to see the realm of infant transformation. The situation changes. The masters in Tian City ran wild one by one, flying towards Mongshan County. Even the people in the city noticed something was wrong, because the army guarding the capital had already started. Immortals fight, and it is not only the immortals who are injured. Although there are no mortals in Mongshan County, the land still belongs to the Tang dynasty. So go to guard. Even if there are gods fighting, go there. After all, Savage and Nanchi Kingdom also visited a lot of people, wanting to annex Tang Dynasty in one fell swoop. Among the major forces, only Savage and Nanquiguo have such ambitions. The ancient monks of the Northern Territory Glacier, that is, the magic cultivator saints called by the Tang Dynasty, are not going to grab the territory, because most of them are from the Tang Dynasty, but after accepting the inheritance of the Divine Eye, they stayed in the Northern Territory Glacier to practice. At this moment, the sky was completely dark and there was no light in Mongshan County. In the depths of the canyon, there is 1,000 fires shining like daytime. Over the mountains in the southeast, 72 warships were suspended in midair, shining like stars in a vast night, illuminating the mountains. The two major forces with a large number of people are very close, and the smell of gunpowder is also very strong. The powerhouses at the bottom, one by one, are gearing up, ready to be called at any time. They didn't know that, at this moment, the top powerhouses of all forces were gathered at the top of the mountain. A figure in Chinese clothes, with a high aura, a serious face, and the power of a righteous path, stopped at the first place and said loudly, "Nantianji, Tanyang Sect Master, Hua Xuejin." Pindao Zhang Xianxing, representing the Northern Region Glacier. The young man in the yellow robe just raised his head slightly, looking very low-key. The chief capital of the two major cultivation worlds spoke, and the remaining savage forces also walked out at this moment. Wild, thousand-footed leader, Miao Renfeng, this man is full of white hair and looks like an old man, but his body is extremely strong, his chest is open, and his animal skin looks extremely wild, but his tone is extremely gentle. To be precise, the wilderness is not the realm of self-cultivation, because they are self-sufficient and do not recognize the set of ancient qi refiners. Naturally, they are not all the way. In addition to abandoning the ancient inheritance, their strength gradually decreased, and they were squeezed out. Most of the wild areas live at the junction of the eastern land and the northern glaciers. In normal times, the powerhouses of the orthodox self-cultivation world would despise these people. But now that everyone has gathered together, facing the entire eastern land cultivation realm, they naturally come together. Everyone didn't even greet each other, they all went straight to the topic. How to enter Mongshan County. In fact, they have already arrived. But no one entered Mongshan County first, because they were worried about an ambush. An empty city. Unattended, no breath felt. It surprised them. If only one force came, it would be fine to fight for it, but when the three parties gathered together, who would take the lead would become the problem. 3 people, there must be my teacher. There is nothing wrong with this sentence. It is spread in many mortal worlds, and it is not without reason. When there are more people, it becomes a trend. As it is now, when the 3 parties gather, they all have their own plans, and the stakes are very important. Some people have even waited for 1,000 years. Such a critical timing, once hit by the first wave, will affect the chances of subsequent competition for opportunities. So they are all saving their strength, and if they want to calculate the other party, they go to explore the path first. The leader of the 3 major forces has other ideas. They are most anxious because it is in their own best interests. What are the opportunities for those middle and bottom layers to come here? Just cannon fodder. It's just that the 3 of them have to set an example now. If they enter rashly and only let one of their subordinates die, it will be somewhat embarrassing. The 3 leaders were the most anxious, so they gathered together to do a subproject. This kind of thing, among the mortals, can best reflect the mystery. After reaching the ranks of the cultivators, although it is somewhat diluted, it still maintains. Even if only one force comes, there will be factions and fights within. After all, they are fighting for themselves. There are really a few stunners, and it is also a small probability event. Everyone, it's not too late, we need to quickly come up with a countermeasure. Don't forget, this is Dongtu, this is the Great Tang, and it is the strongest self-cultivation world in the Red Eye realm. I believe that many of you are cultivators from the Great Tang. I also understand how powerful the Tang dynasty is. The true immortal of Baoguang Temple is rumored to be the top monk of Huaying, as well as the guardian of the Princess Grave. All of them are monks in the period of Huaying. Hua Xuejian of Nantianji spoke first, because he felt that he should be the leader. After all, the three powerhouses can only speak out from the South Heaven realm. Although the Northern Territory Glacier is an ancient relic, among which the monks are known as inheritors, but in the eyes of the Southern Heaven realm and the Eastern Earth monks, they are a group of magic saints. Because of the ancient inheritance, it is not only the inheritance of the divine eye. The inheritance of the divine eye is extremely harsh, and many monks cannot even pass the most basic black eye inheritance, so many monks who have gone to the northern glaciers feel hopeless and will go to other ruins to try their luck. The main body of the ancient inheritance is the inheritance of the divine eye, but the superpowers who become under the inheritance of the divine eye will also establish their own inheritance place before ascending. In the glorious period, 10,000 immortals soared. The legacy left behind is like raindrops falling on the glacier in the northern region. Therefore, many monks have inherited the inheritance of the ancient monks and become inheritors. But among these inheritances, the number of magic cultivators is the largest. Because the requirements are very low, there are many inheritors who accept magic cultivation. This will be called the magician's saint by the outside world. It is said that the saints are praising them, that is, in such a big scene, politely say that the other party is a cultivator of the holy sect. If you tear your face off or bring it up behind your back, you'll call them magic cultivators. Of course, those Tianjiao who could accept the inheritance of the divine eye were also scolded, but the Tianjiao who could reach that position didn't care what the outside world thought. Now, when Hua Xuejian of the Southern Heaven realm opened his mouth, he showed the brilliance of his righteous path, which was also a normal behavior. As for the wild Miao Renfeng, it is not on the table, so naturally there is nothing to say, but I want to hear what Hua Xuejian, the leader of the righteous path from the Southern Heaven realm, has to say. Because in his cognition, the more cultivators who claim to be righteous, the more bad intentions they have, and they can speak upright and aboveboard. Zhang Xianxing of Beiyu Glacier is more pragmatic. He doesn't care about Hua Xuejian's appearance as the boss. What he cares about is how to progress now. Therefore, after hearing Hua Xuejian's flashy words, he immediately retorted, Baoguang Temple and Gongshufen will not easily join the WDO, and even if they join the WDO, these two people will not be able to stop our three parties. Chapter 63-27. You are right. Hua Xuejian waved his hand, and then said proudly, there is nothing more than an arhat in Baoguang Temple, or who is a true immortal, or who is the guardian of the tomb of the princess. These are all small problems, and we are here this time for the purpose of maintain the right path. There is a huge dead energy hidden in this Mongshan County. Even ordinary people can feel the endless resentment hidden in the dead energy. Obviously, there is a demon cultivator in the Tang dynasty. It is my duty to eradicate the demon cultivator. Demon Dao, I, Hua Xuejian, will destroy the entire Tang dynasty. This series of words is so heart-wrenching that he almost calls himself a saint. Miao Renfeng couldn't help laughing. Isn't the most widely spread demon religion in the outside world the Northern Region Glacier? Turning his head and looking at Zhang Xianxing, the other party's expression did not change much, and there was still a trace of anxiety between his eyebrows. Hua Xuejian took out the set in the Southern Heaven realm and started beating, and first said to Zhang Xianxing, I am very happy that the Northern Territory Glacier can come this time. The devil taught me to investigate clearly, and it has something to do with your Northern Territory glaciers. Yuan, this time you are also clearing the portal. I am very particular about my sense of proportion, and I have never interfered in other people's affairs, but this time the Qiang sect's actions are too bad, and it is rumored that there is some kind of big killer inside the Qiang sect, which can endanger the entire cultivation world. My South Heaven realm, I have to take action and destroy this sect. The leader of the Hua Alliance is great. This time we gather from three parties. It is not a problem to get rid of the Qiang sect. The key is that this is the opponent's territory. Let's go to Mongshan County together. This time, Miao Renfeng couldn't stand it anymore. He felt that if he kept talking like this, he wouldn't be able to pay attention when it was dawn, so he opened his mouth to bring the topic back. When Zhang Xianxing saw the topic, he immediately nodded and said, "Yes, in the current situation, it is not enough to rely on one person alone. We need to unite and enter Mongshan County to investigate the situation first." Seeing the anxious appearance of the two, Hua Xuejian first leaked a trace of worry, then looked at the two and said, "Do those two have any ideas?" The change in attitude caught Zhang Xianxing and Miao Renfeng by surprise, but they didn't think much about the topic, and they immediately came up with a surefire strategy. The strategy is simple. Each of the three parties has 5 late-stage Jindan cultivators to take the lead. The second echelon is each sent a baby cultivator to stand in the line. The third echelon dispatched 30 Jindan period and 300 congenital warriors from all sides. If the Northern Territory Glacier did not come to innate warriors, then it would be converted into Jindan period monks, and 1 to 10 would be enough. The plan is simple and will not upset any of the three parties. But it's hard to say inside. The internal problems of the three parties are intricate and complicated, and once they become entangled, it will take a long time. It doesn't work to replicate this scheme completely. For example, there are many tribes in the wild. Some tribes have only 2 or 3 Jindan monks, and some tribes have dozens of Jindan monks. How does this count? 1 with fewer people and 2 with more? There will definitely be people who are dissatisfied, and at this time, the leader needs to have a strong wrist to mediate. Miao Renfeng has no problem with Fang Yuan, because many of them were mentioned by him, and now he is worried about internal problems. So after the 3 of them were finalized, they each returned to inform the internal tribe or the sect to discuss the matter of dispatching the strong. In the canyon, Miao Renfeng looked back at Hua Xuejian on his way back and wondered in his heart, "This man is so popular, why didn't he say a word about the plan?" Curiosity disappeared, and now it was time for him to explain the headache internally. The sky, the largest warship. Hua Xuejian returned to the main hall inside the ship with satisfaction. He was very satisfied with the 3-way negotiation just now. On the surface, he dominated the overall situation, but Fang Yin deliberately missed a hand and did not participate at all. Because this matter is so simple that a child can come up with a plan, why should he say it himself? It doesn't do him any good, and it makes people think he's simple-minded. Therefore, Zhang Xianxing and Miao Renfeng were deliberately asked to come forward. In this way, he can also face internal problems. Because Fang Yin was mentioned by the other party, if you are dissatisfied, you can go to Zhang Xianxing and Miao Renfeng, it has nothing to do with me. On top of that, he has a bad reputation for letting people risk their lives, and he wouldn't wear that hat. He can say things that send people to death in a high-sounding manner, and he can also speak upright and righteous, but those are just casual words, and others don't know how to scold him in their hearts. So this kind of thankless thing, he will not do it. Immediately, I made it clear, simplifying what I said about the scene, and then said the plan proposed by Miao Renfeng and Zhang Xianxing. The hall fell silent in an instant. Nantianji, Ukanshu. There are 9 large and small sections. Among them, Tianyangmen, where Zhang Xianzong is located, is the most powerful. There are hundreds of cultivators in the Jindan stage alone, and 3 cultivators in the infant transformation stage if you count him. The rest of the sects seemed a little weaker. The only thing that can be compared with Tianyang sect is Jujimen. There are 2 infants, and one of them, Giant Sword Wanglan, is known as the second cultivator of Nantian. The strength is already at the peak of the middle stage of Huaying. A strong man who can wrestle his wrists with Huaying in the later stage. In addition, the other 7 major sects each have a baby-changing cultivator, and there are only dozens of Jindan cultivators under the sect, with only a dozen or so less. The powerhouses of the 9 major sects are actually not many when added together, and their quality is incomparable to the northern region glacier, and their combat power may not be as good as that of the wild tribes. Since the leader of the alliance brought Fang Yin back, let's study it. Wang Lan, who has always been domineering, was the first to speak, and there was a sense of sarcasm in Hua Xuejian's words. He glanced at the people present and said, "Actually, it's not a study, I think this plan is very good, and it suits me very well. Since each of the three parties has monks, then the number of people who fall into our southern heaven realm, in fact, it is not too much. I have a suggestion here, you can refer to it. There are 5 Jindan cultivators in the first tier, 3 from the 9 major sects, 2 from the loose cultivator, the second echelon. I personally sit in the third echelon, 20 from the 9 major sects, and 10 from the scattered cultivator. Jindan cultivator, I don't think it is necessary to divide the remaining innate warriors. Anyway, there are enough people here this time. When the time comes, everyone will draw lots to decide who will agree, who is against it. As soon as these words came out, the 9 sect powerhouses in the hall nodded their heads to indicate that there was no problem. But scattered repairs are uncomfortable. The resources of the Southern Heaven realm were strictly controlled, and the path of scattered cultivation was inherently difficult. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.